If you're not a subscriber to this channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and share these videos on your social media platforms. I want to give a good morning to everybody. And we're going to get right into it as Susan Smith, the woman who drowned her two kids in a lake back on October 1994 and blamed the black man for it, to where it was a week and a half nationwide manhunt for this black man that didn't exist, was convicted in 1995 for the double murder of her two children. And prosecutors at the time pushed for the death penalty, but that request was denied, and she instead got life in prison with parole after 30 years. And in that 30 years, since she's been in prison, Susan Smith, for much of it, or for some of it, actually, for some of it, has not been necessarily the consummate model prisoner. What's up, Day Love? She was busted on 2 different occasions having sex with the prison guards. Those prison guards got fired, and she had to get moved to another facility in South Carolina. She's been an ordained minister. She's been using drugs while in prison. She's been caught earlier this year having phone sex with one of the sugar daddies that she was going to hook up with if she ever got out. Talking about how she wanted to be in the car with a wet t-shirt on, bucket naked and all that shit. Right? All that, stuff that I'm not really going to get into. Oh yeah. Yeah. Then she was also busted recently talking with a producer about making a documentary about her life. She became eligible for parole on November 4th. And here we are today. Now, that's just the Cliff Notes version, because I really didn't want to get in all the details and all that, because, look, I ain't got that kind of time, okay? Now, the parole hearing begins at 9 o'clock, but we do not know what time Smith will appear. David Smith is expected to be there, her former husband. Parole hearings are done virtually in South Carolina, with the inmate joining by video call from prison. Now, parole in South Carolina is only granted 8% of the time and is less likely on the inmate's first appearance on the board. In notorious cases, or when prosecutors and the families of the victims are opposed. David Smith falls in all these categories. Now, the jury believed that she got a life sentence and that what she should serve. This is Tommy Pope, who's the lead prosecutor in the trial of Susan Smith, and he's the Republican pro tem of the South Carolina House of Representatives. Secondarily, the conduct in prison shows, unfortunately, what a juror hoped would happen, that she would be remorseful and think about those kids. She's proven she's only thought about herself. And that's a fact, because she came out and said that she done her time and she wants to live her life. So she gave absolutely no thought or no kind of inclination that the kids that she murdered was the priority, and that she was remorseful, and that she, really had a epiphany about that, right? Nah, she took out her to be with a dude. That's what happened. She took out her 2 kids because she wanted to carry on a relationship with a dude who she worked with. And then another piece of information that was exposed in court, she was carrying on a secret affair with her damn stepdaddy. So not only she was carrying on this sexual encounter with Thomas Finley, she was also carrying on a sexual relationship with her own stepdaddy. But yeah, let's paint the picture of her being some, damsel in distress, and that, she was a broken soul, came from a broken home and all this other bullshit, right? Nah. I think she's nothing more than a manipulator. So, again, she made headlines in 94, October 94, when she said she was carjacked late at night near the city of Union and that a man drove away with her 2 sons inside. She said the carjacker was black. Now, what black man you know is going to be carjacking some white woman with her 2 kids in the car? Come on now. The story didn't make sense then, and it doesn't make sense now. So there was this week and a half long nationwide manhunt for this black man that didn't exist. And she made numerous and crying crocodile tears, asking that her 3-year-old Michael and 14-month-old Alex be returned safely. But the whole time, the kids and the car were at the bottom of John D. Lake. The whole time. Now, investigators said that the story didn't add up. Carjackers usually just want a vehicle, so investigators asked, why would they let Smith out but not the kids? The traffic light where Smith says she stopped when her car was taken will only be red if another car was waiting to cross, and Smith said no other cars were around, and other bits and pieces of story didn't make sense. Now, she confessed to letting her car roll down the boat ramp into the lake. A recreation by investigators showed it took 6 minutes for the Mazda to dip below the water surface, while cameras inside the vehicle showed water pouring in through the vents and steadily rising. The boys' bodies were found dangling upside down in the car seats. One tiny hand pressed against a window. Prosecutors said Smith was having an affair with the wealthy son of the owner of the business she worked with. He broke it off because she had the 2 young sons, and Smith decided if that was how she would solve the problem. Now, prosecutors sought the death penalty in the trial of the young mother, became a national sensation and a true crime touchstone, even though it wasn't televised by a judge who was worried about what cameras were doing to the O.J. Simpson murder trial going on at the same time. Yeah, whatever. Because cameras was going to divert off O.J. Simpson on to Susan Smith, right? The fuck out of here. Anyway, the judge convicted Smith, but decided she did not deserve the death penalty. Smith's lawyer said she was remorseful, which she was not, suffering a mental breakdown only when she got caught, and intended to die alongside her children, but left the car at the last moment. Okay, so why she didn't take her kids with her then? Smith's 30 years in prison has been eventful too. South Carolina prison rules don't allow broadcast interviews, but Smith has frequently written reporters, true crime aficionados, and potential suitors who didn't talk about the letters publicly. She then unsuccessfully tried to appeal her own conviction, saying her husband David Smith abused her. He adamantly denied it, and authorities said there was no proof. During the 30 years ensuing, it's hard to believe it's come this quick. She's had sex with guards. She's gotten attention for social media opportunities. She's gotten sugar daddies that can't wait till she get out. She can't wait to get out. What's up, Underrated Darkness? And salute to Harriet Bernstein in the building. Yeah, she's very evil. She is very, very evil. Yeah, because those sugar daddies was going to line her with pockets and they was going to fill her up with all kinds of sexual desires and all. She was busted back in August having phone sex with one of the sugar daddies. And those jailhouse calls are recorded. So you can't come back later on and say that, no, I didn't do such a thing. Those jailhouse calls are recorded. Everything. What you do and what you say is recorded in prison. There's literally no freedom in prison. You have no rights in prison. Your cell can be searched at any time. You can be frisk search, strip search. You can have all that done to you at any time without reason. Of course, David Smith is going to oppose her parole. In an interview with Court TV, David Smith said he struggles to remember his sons. He said while he has forgiven Susan Smith, it doesn't take away the fact that she killed their children and deserves to spend more than 30 years in prison for it. And look, I can't sit there and begin to relate what kind of mental trauma this man is going through. And I'm even going to begin to try to articulate that. Because how can somebody articulate that unless you actually been through that type of trauma? And then even then, you know what? I'm just going to move on. But just know, David Smith is doing everything that he possibly can within his power to make sure that Susan Smith don't get out. There's been petitions. As we speak right now, there are petitions. And last time I checked, the number was at around 400. Probably increased since then. That they don't want Susan Smith getting out. And who could blame them? I don't want her getting out. Her ass needs to fucking rot. If you ask me. Now, Pope plans to tell the parole board that when jurors rejected the death penalty, they saw a life sentence meant the rest of her life and did not think she could be released after 30 years. Now, Pope expects Susan Smith to make her own argument to the parole board. He thinks she will try to use the same sympathy and difficulty to believe that a mother would do something like this to her own children to convince the board to grant her parole. She's been rehearsing what she'll say to the parole board for 30 years. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, she needs to rot. Sorry, she needs to rot. But then again, I'm not sorry. Go kill your own kids and then blame the black man for killing your own kids? Just disgusting. Now, the South Carolina Board of Paroles and Pardons is composed of 7 members, one from each of the state's congressional districts. However, the first congressional district in South Carolina seat is vacant. So at this present time, it is 6 members on the board. What's up, Ted? There's 6 members on the board. Now, for Susan Smith to get parole, which in all likelihood she will not get parole, but let's play fantasy parole board hearing for a convicted murderer who likes getting fucked in prison, right? Of the 6, she needs 4. She needs 4 members of that board to grant her the parole. She needs 4. Now, look, Again, in South Carolina, it is very difficult to get parole. Only 8% of people who've gone up for parole actually got parole. And for a first time individual going up for parole, the number is even less. We're talking like 1.8% for a first time offender going up for parole actually getting it. Less than 2%. So, in all likelihood, she's not going to get it. So, I'm going to share my screen and you're going to get an idea timeline. Where's that at? Because I want you to see the dude. One of the dudes went on a talk show. Dude went on a damn talk show and talked about his encounter with Susan Smith. Shit, when this happened, I was like 15 years old. I had just turned 15 years old, and I was like a freshman in high school when this happened. Like, I literally grew up in South Carolina when this thing happened. This thing was all over the news. No, she's like 50. She's 50. She's like 53 or 54 years old now. Susan Smith is, right? I want y'all to see the clip of the dude that she had. This is the dude that Susan Smith had sex with, DJ.
What would you tell Susan Smith if she was sitting right here today?
Honestly, I wouldn't say a word to her. I don't have anything to say to Susan.
She's coming up for parole in 2024. Do you think she deserves to be paroled?
No, I don't. I think she's still of that mindset that she could manipulate anybody she comes in contact with.
Now look at the dude she's out here having sex with. What's up, Too Raw? This is the type of dude that Susan Smith that they banging out. Oh boy, So I mean, as far as he's concerned, he got his nut, right? He pumped her. Now he dumped her, and of course he ain't got nothing to say to her. He got fired for having sex with Susan Smith in prison. He got fired. So of course he ain't got nothing to say to Susan Smith. What's up, Too Raw? He talked about how she seduced him. She talked about how this man talked about how how Susan Smith seduced him. He said he looked like Uncle Jesse with Duke's eyes. Boy, Too Raw, you crazy as hell, bro. Boy, Too Raw crazy as fuck, bro. You see, he look like Uncle Jesse of Dukes of Hazzard. Just a good old boy. Don't be mean in the heart. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, bitch, you don't need to get out. Your ass don't need to get out. Fuck you. Look at that. Oh, hold on. Y'all see how that black man look? Y'all see how that black man look? That's the black man, supposed black man that. Boy, look at that sketch, bro. Oh my Lord have mercy. This is back in 94. This was back in 94. Look at the sketch of that fucking supposed black man that killed that. Oh my Lord have mercy. Mm-mm-mm. The nose is big. Look at it. The dude ain't got no chin. He clean. Oh, what the? Mm-mm-mm. That was the so sketch. That was the composite sketch of the so-called black man that killed their two kids. Get the fuck out of here, man. She's trying to own kids so she can carry on a sexual relationship with a dude that she wanted, that didn't want her. No, no, bitch. You need to rot. You need to fucking rot. Sorry, but then again, I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. Her ass need to rot. Now, I'm going to talk about the individuals who are on this board. I do not have their pictures, but I will talk about the individuals on this board. So you have an individual by the name of Molly Dupriest Taylor. She's out of West Columbia. She was appointed and confirmed to the South Carolina Board of Parolees and Pardons in 2019. Now, these pardons and parole board members are appointed by the governor, who is Henry McMasters. And Henry McMasters, you trifling. You trifling because you won't allow sports betting there, you fuck. But anyway, neither here nor there, right? I want y'all to take a picture of this supposed dude, yo. This is the supposed black man. This supposed black man that stole, hold on. Where is it at? I want y'all to see this photo right here because this was crazy.
Thank you. New at noon, the parole after officials say she made calls next month on November 20th. Recently, she was convicted of an internal disciplinary charge after officials say she made calls with a death sentence for killing her sons, but is eligible for parole next month.
This is the supposed black man. Can y'all see that? This is the supposed black man that carjacked Susan Smith with her two kids in that Mazda. Now, nobody knows who this man is. Nobody ever seen this man before a day in their life. Where he from? He from Africa? Or he from Haiti? Where the fuck is he from? Who the fuck is that? This is a support carjack Susan Smith with her two kids in the car. Should have told white supremacists that could be anybody. Hell, that could be me, for crying out loud. I could be going to Shoney's. But I was 15 years old at the time with no driver's license, so it couldn't have been me. So in October, It's not that cold in South Carolina in October. It's actually still pretty warm in October. So you mean to tell me a dude is wearing a knit cap? Exactly, too raw. A dude's wearing a knit cap in South Carolina in October. Black man have issues dealing with his own kids. You think a black man would run around here with white kids that's not his and shit outside of a relationship? Come on now. Anyway, you can't make this stuff up, man. But anyway, so Molly Dupree Taylor, West Columbia, appointed to the South Carolina Board of Paroles and Pardons, right? In 2019, Frank Weidman of Greenwood, South Carolina, Reno Russell Boyd of Greenville, South Carolina, Henry S. Eldridge of York County, Geraldine Miro of Orangeburg, South Carolina. She was appointed on November 30th of 2022, and Kim Frederick of Surfside Beach. She was appointed there in 2017. So those are the jury members or the parole board members. Once again, the one in the first congressional district of South Carolina is vacant because it's normally. So yeah, we're just trying to see when and if Susan Smith gonna get her parole denied, because again, only 8% of people who've gone up for parole actually get it, and that number is even less for a first-time parole applicant. Talk about less than 2%. So with David Smith being there and the petitions from patrons saying that this woman shouldn't get out, yeah, she definitely should not get out. Like, again, I want her goddamn cremation to do time. And as a decomposed life form, I want her goddamn cremation to do time. I mean that shit. I mean that. And when her cremation is in that urn, right, she can then become the model prison citizen. That's right. You ain't got to worry about no urn with her cremation in it, getting involved in sex scandals, shooting herself up with heroin, trying to eat some other female prisoners' pussy and all that. You ain't got to worry about none of that with her cremation is in that urn. What's up, Bryce? And then she might get parole. Only for somebody to put her ashes somewhere in the lake. I mean that shit. Her ass don't need to get out and do what? What's she gonna do when she get out? She can't get no job. What is she gonna start an OnlyFans account? So then she can show her hairy legs and all that? No. What's she gonna do? Unless she got some sugar daddy kicking her off. Because that's the only way I can see her getting ahead. The only way I can see her getting ahead is getting some sugar daddy giving her while she's giving head. That's right. The only way she gets ahead is give head to a goddamn sugar daddy, and he could put like $40,000 in her bank account. And then they can take that fantasy sex that they got busted on a jail recording and make that a reality. But the chances of that happening is slim and none. All this pussy that's out here, you. All right, I'm about to share my screen again. Because we're gonna get right to the smoke. Get rid of all these other tabs and shit. Hey, I appreciate everybody for being up in here on this Wednesday morning, man. You know, we trying to see Susan Smith parole here. I want to hear them say denied. I want to hear them say your parole has been denied. God damn it. we're the trash in the thumbnail. Throw that. You crazy, Ted. But yeah, man, we waiting on this. We waiting on her parole hearing. That's what we waiting on. They say it's supposed to start at 9. But we don't know when when the actual hearing is going to be. So we're going to stand by. We're going to stand by until this hearing goes down because I want to see them tell her to her face. Let's look at some of this other stuff right here when it comes to her.
Years ago today, Susan Smith was sentenced for drowning her sons in a Union County lake.
And today, on this anniversary, the state newspaper released a letter with the story tonight, all new at 6. Mike?
Here at John D. Long Lake, this is the memorial for Michael and Alex Smith. It is just feet from the lake where they died. In this letter sent to a reporter at the state newspaper, their mother, Susan Smith, wrote, quote, "I am not the monster society thinks I am. I am far from it. I was a good mother,
yes, you are,
and I
bitch.
loved my boys."
She has always kind of taken a.
Hold on. This woman says she's not the monster society thinks she is. What? What you mean? You are a monster. If you love your kids so much that you want to kill your own children to be with a dude, right? But you love your kids so much, man, get your ass out of here, bitch. You need to fucking rot. I mean, it was already bad enough you killed your own 2 kids, but then you turn around and blame a black man? Bitch.
Self-centered focus over the years.
Tommy Pope was the prosecutor.
Where in my obituary they're going to say he's that guy that prosecuted
State newspaper. Smith wrote in part, quote, "The thing that hurts me the most is that people think I hurt my children in order to be with a man. That is so far from the truth. I was not in my right mind."
If you look at the letter, it's still more about her, not about Michael and Alex, not about the regrets of the crime.
Pope says he doesn't talk about the case anymore unless he's asked about it. He considers the trial a loss because Smith didn't get the death penalty.
For me, it's kind of odd that I'm most famous for something that I don't think is my greatest accomplishment.
Smith's defense attorneys, David Bruck and Judy Clark, are still working on high-profile cases. Most recently, Boston Marathon bombing suspect Johar Tsarnaev. The sheriff at the time, Howard Wells, ended up behind bars himself following a 2010 investigation into public corruption. As for Pope, he's in private practice, serves in the State House, and plans on a 2018 run for governor. But he predicts more discussion on Smith, given the fact that parole will eventually be an option. Mike McCormick, WIFF News 4, Union County.
I can't get it out of my mind. And I thought if I came today, maybe I could put it to rest.
As ministers assure mourners, Michael and Alex are in better hands. A devastated father pays his last respects. Hundreds cram into the church while scores of others stand outside. Many strain to hear the service as the emotion cuts through the hum of nearby satellite trucks.
We cannot bring them back, but we can go and be with them.
Mourners come from across both Carolinas and Georgia.
You still can't, grasp and say, why would somebody do anything like that, let alone a mother? And still, yet today we haven't found any answers.
As a heartbroken David Smith leaves the church, his family too still has more questions than answers.
She was always telling us about the kids, and there was just no clue. And I think that's what stunned everybody.
Little Michael and Alex were finally laid to rest in a family plot in the little community of Bogensville. And all afternoon, people came by, many just leaving a personal memento of sorrow and grief. Pat Carr came down from Greenville.
I can't imagine a woman who drives her car into a lake and leaves babies crying away.
The Smiths minister hopes the healing process can now begin, not only for Union County, but the rest of the country too.
It's beyond words. Where you can't really describe the feeling that's going on here, the care these people show. They don't even know these children.
Over the past 2 weeks, the nation got to know little Michael and Alex, and tonight they feel the loss. Bill Wilson, News 4, Union County.
Just disgusting, man. Just disgusting. Oh man, if that shit don't piss you off, but I don't know what does, man. And this woman got the audacity to say that she's a victim? Shit. This woman got some nerve to talk about she's a victim or whatever. Boy, I tell you, man, you just cannot make this stuff up, man. For real. Now, trying to see when this when her case is actually going to. Now, I apologize for the technical difficulties. All right, so we got a little timeline now. This is the family, David Smith, showing up at the court or showing up at the hearing. We don't know yet when Susan Smith will actually go before the board because they actually got some people. They actually got a lot of people going out for parole today. So we're going to stay here. We're going to stay on this. Online parole hearings are taking place. And then when Susan Smith goes before the board, we are going to play this thing live. So we're going to be here. Right? We ain't going nowhere. We ain't going nowhere. We ain't going nowhere. We can't be stopped now because this LB for life. No Diddy. All right, so let's talk about other news, right? Since we here waiting on Susan Smith's trial to begin, or not her trial, but her parole hearing to begin, right? We're going to talk about some other news. All right. So it has came out that Vince McMahon and Linda McMahon are officially split. Now, look, we've known this for years, right? Or it has been suspected for years that Vince McMahon and Linda McMahon have gone their separate ways, but they just stayed in marriage on paper, right? There's been reports about them living in separate homes, not really having any interaction with each other, but it has not been confirmed that Vince McMahon and Linda McMahon have split. Now, for me personally, I think this has to do with the lawsuit that was brought about back in October when it's alleged when there is some illicit activity going on with little boys and the company knew about it but didn't do anything about it. So I think Linda McMahon is trying to distance herself from that. Right? But even then, I still don't think Vince McMahon is going to do a day in jail. Because Trump will give him a pardon. I just believe Trump will give him a pardon. And then when you factor in Vince McMahon's been on dates with women, right? That's not Linda McMahon, right? Matter of fact, there was that one video that went viral of Vince McMahon, was out with a woman during John Cena's birthday. What's up, DSA1? Salute to DSA1 in the building. Appreciate you for being up in here. So yeah. So you have that, and then Trump has made her the education secretary. Now, during Trump's first administration, she was the director of the Small Business Administration, right? And she was a big-time donor to Trump's campaign. And she has her own think tank. Well, not her own think tank. She has a think tank that ties into Trump, right? All these political action committees and all that. Yeah, they have their own little think tanks and shit. Then I can't understand for the life of me, why is Kamala Harris still being talked about? Now, look, ever since the election, Kamala Harris has been deemed politically irrelevant. When you lose 2 presidential elections, right? Yeah, she lost 2 presidential elections, right? She didn't even become a nominee in 2019, 2020, and then she got crushed in the 2024 presidential election. So, in my opinion, that makes her politically irrelevant. Why do we still got people talking about Kamala Harris? She's irrelevant. She's a has-been. She is not going to be no leader of the Democratic Party, right? She's not no entity that's going to galvanize the party and nothing like that. She's done. You know, all these reports come about how she's spending all this money left and right. So the fuck what? She did all that for nothing. She spent all that money for nothing. All these celebrity endorsements and all that, and she's got nothing out the deal. Nothing. And then she left her constituents hanging on the night that she lost the election. That was the biggest slap in the face of anything else. You got all these people out there singing, dancing, waiting on you to come out and say something, and you say you don't even come out. You trot out that fucking idiot Cedric Richmond. Oh, we're still counting up the votes. She's not going to come out and speak tonight, but she'll come out and speak tomorrow. What kind of shit is that? As far as I'm concerned, Kamala Harris is done. She's done. Okay? All your fucking three-chin fatback Roland Martins, all your gray slick back hair Al Sharptons who like tasting the biscuits and shit. All them dudes, all them hoes is out there capping for Kamala is irrelevant. Then you had these feminists out here running their mouth, talking shit, going on viral screens, talking about how they're not giving their pussy up because Trump won the election. So let me get this straight. Y'all was all about women's reproductive rights, but it took the orange man winning the election for you to manage your pussy, right? Let me show you how your pussy works. Nigga, you ain't getting none. You got women out here with shadow mustaches. You got women out here with no neck. Hey, that one chick out there that was talking this shit about, hey, I'm not going to give up no pussy. Hey, protect your neck when you get one, okay? All these ugly-ass women who men weren't even checking for to begin with, coming out there talking about they ain't giving no pussy up. Well, newsflash, nobody was checking you from the beginning. You could have just kept that part to yourself. So again, it took Donald Trump winning the election for you to manage your thought pocket, huh? Make it make sense. So before Trump's victory, you was out here living this promiscuous lifestyle. You was giving that ass up to anybody who wanted it, right? You was out there serving it up like how Burger King be serving up them Whoppers, huh? But Trump winning the election, now all of a sudden now you ain't giving no pussy up no more. I'm going to shut down my OnlyFans account. I'm going to stop going on Instagram, putting out these thirst traps because Trump won the election, right? Get the fuck out of here, man. You guys is motherfucking hoes arguing in bad faith. So again, it took Trump winning the election for you to manage your pussy, right? You couldn't do that shit no other time. Make it make sense. We waiting on Susan Smith parole hearing to come up. That's why we on here. We waiting on Susan Smith parole hearing to come up so that way we can roast her ass on commentary and she can cry these crocodile tears about how she loved her kids and how she missed her kids, even though while she driving her kids in the lake back in 1994, but she loved to miss her kids. Let her tell it. She gonna put on these extremist performative acts and it's gonna be all for naught. In all likelihood, they're gonna tell her that your parole has been denied. So we waiting. We ain't got all day. You know what I'm saying? Because I got food to get. Now, if you want to donate to the channel, if you feel like you're in a giving mood, will Vince fire Triple H? Vince ain't come back to WWE. He done sold off all his shares. There's the Cash App. There's the PayPal. Any and all donations are accepted and appreciated if you feel like you're in the giving mood. Now, we just waiting patiently. So that way, I want to hear Susan Smith come on the little TV, right? Because they're not gonna be face to face, it's gonna be virtual. And I want to hear them tell her that her parole has been denied. So I can laugh my motherfucking ass off. That's right. I want to laugh my motherfucking ass off today while her ass will continue to rot in prison for the rest of her life. She will sit there and kill her 2 kids and then sit up here and blame a black man. Get the fuck out of here, bitch. Your ass need to fucking rot. You need to rot, bitch. I be that shit. You need to fucking rot. That's right. In all likelihood, Susan Smith will not be home for Christmas. Now, ain't no motherfucking sugar daddy gonna be, tying no mistletoe up to your pussy heads and shit. So you went to AEW last week and it was 80% empty. I mean, yeah. I believe that. Why do you think they be having them small arenas and them small gyms and shit? They better take a page out of WWE playbook and take that shit overseas. They go overseas. Yeah, a lot of seats were covered. They can't sell them. They really want to make a profit. They need to take their act overseas, man. They better learn. Hey, they better follow WWE playbook. They better go to Germany, France, Australia, got that Istanbul, Turkey. They need to go. Hey, they need to take that act overseas. I'm trying to tell you. Yeah, I'm happy MVP and last year on AEW as well because they were just getting misused in WWE. Now, I think Triple H is a low-key racist if you ask me. I don't see color. What the fuck do you see then? You see talent. You don't see no talent. Because if you did see talent, then Bobby Lashley should have been pushed to the fucking moon. Again, I think Triple H is a low-key racist. If you ask, and if you really want me to point to a piece of evidence that he's a low-key racist, that promo he did with Booker T leading up to WrestleMania 19 out in Seattle, Washington, right, for the World Heavyweight Championship. That promo they did leading up to WrestleMania told me right there he was a low-key racist. I mean, you don't push no black wrestlers. You don't push no black wrestlers. You mean to tell me black wrestlers are inferior, right? Okay, the fuck out of here. They were trying to bury Bobby Lashley before he left. At least when Vince McMahon did push some talent. He did push Booker T. He did push Bobby Lashley. He did push Kofi Kingston. Triple H wasn't trying to push no black wrestlers and shit. And only started pushing black women wrestlers after he got called out. So, I mean, I see through the scam. Ain't nobody stupid. You know how many black wrestlers they dropped the ball on? But yeah. We just still waiting here for the Susan Smith parole hearing to go down. Now we don't know the order of where she's at or whatever, man. But we just waiting here patiently, right? I ain't got nothing but time. I ain't got no job yet. And we're just gonna sit here, wait patiently until the Susan Smith parole hearing takes place, and then we're gonna give the live commentary, right? Because I want them to tell her ass she is gonna get denied. She can take her ass back to her cell. Now, when she gets denied, because in all likelihood she will get denied, because again, first time parole hearings, applicant only get parole 1.8% of the time. So when she gets denied, she'll go up again every 2 years. So every 2 years, we'll have to continue on doing this thing with her every 2 years until she croaks or until they give her parole. But she don't need to get out. For what? What's she getting out for? Oh, I did my time. I did my time. I don't need to be. No, bitch. You ain't did enough time. My opinion, you ain't did enough time. 30 years is not enough. Because see, them kids can't come back. That's right. Them kids could have been grown adults, could have been married, because them kids would have been at least 30 years old in their 30s, in their early 30s, both of them. Because the first kid was 3, the other kid was 14 months. So we thinking that the first kid would have been 33, the other kid would have been 31. They could have been married, had their own children and shit. But no, you had to ruin all that shit just so you can satisfy your fix. Nah, bitch, you need to rot. Them kids can't come back. David Smith ain't gonna be able to talk to his sons ever again. I mean, what kind of evil, demonic person would kill their own children? Sure, you can get mad at them and all that, but that don't mean you go out there and kill them. I mean, what kind of evil, demonic soul this woman is? They need to be a special place for a person like Susan Smith, for real. So we just wait. We waiting to see if and when her parole gets denied. I want them to tell her face, virtually. So we ain't going nowhere. We gonna be right here until they play that shit. I'm supposed to be at the store right now getting me some food to eat. That's right, but we gonna be here. We ain't going nowhere. And this is shit. Oh, let's talk some New York Giants news while we waiting on Susan Smith. Right? Now, the best piece of news that came out of New York on Monday was the fact that the Giants decided that, you know what? We've had enough with Daniel Jones and we're going to bench him, right? But then they turned around last night and signed Tim fucking Boyle. Tim Boyle. Tim Boyle. So that makes Daniel Jones 4th on the depth chart. They are trying to make sure that Daniel Jones never plays another snap with the New York Giants. But you then turn around and sign Tim Boyle. We've seen Tim Boyle. He sucks. He's worse than Daniel Jones. That motherfucker is a bona fide scrub. Yes. Y'all just sign anybody. Hey, can I? Oh, Lord have mercy. So, Giants insiders, right? Let's hear what Mark Schlereth had to say. DJ, spin that shit.
This is why the Giants suck. Drew Lock has been your backup quarterback for the entirety of the season, right? He was the guy, if Daniel Jones was going to get hurt, he was the guy that was going in. He was good enough to do that for you for the entirety of this season. But as soon as you decide to bench Daniel Jones, you decide to go with the sideshow, Tommy Cutlets. Because why? Because your fan base will get excited? Yes. Like, to me, this is the biggest issue. You're a bad franchise. You need to attract free agents to come to your franchise. If I'm a free agent player, and all things being equal from a money standpoint, I look at this clown show versus some other team, I'm not going to the Giants. That's a clown show. That guy worked all year to be the backup to get his opportunity. He signed there to have an opportunity because he knew Daniel Jones was questionable. And at the 11th hour, you decide, no, we're going to go with.
Oh, man. And again, this is where I push back on Mark Schlereth, right? Because I'm not defending goddamn on Drew Lock. Why did the Giants even sign Drew Lock in the first place is beyond me. We know Drew Lock sucks. I've seen him play in other teams around the NFL. Drew Lock is trash too. So again, this is why I believe John Mara should fire Joe Sheen. This man has made gaffe after fucking gaffe after fucking gaffe. Just disgusting. Then there's a report out saying that Joe Sheen is not that popular in the locker room. If the Giants GM and Joe Sheen and Brian Daboll are to keep their jobs, they need to do two things: win some games, unlikely, and keep the locker room intact, even more unlikely. Both of these feel a tall order at this point, especially in the aftermath of benching Daniel Jones, which upset defensive captain Dexter Lawrence. Hey, look, Dexter Lawrence, I like you. Y'all at Clemson, you're a beast. But come on now, Dexter Lawrence, you know the writing was on the wall. This motherfucker sucked. Yeah, we got picks. The recent release of quarterback Nick McLeod also weakened the team on defense and special teams. Similarly, it was not well received in the locker room. Now, it was revealed that cracks are beginning to form between the current regime and the players. Players in the locker room saying that he's not that popular and that these kind of releases bother them. Now, the McLeod release and specifically how Sheen approached it did not go over well with several of the players. Ronan also pointed out that players liking Saquon Barkley's post, Darius Slayton's free man comment that he later tried to explain away, and other examples are no accident. But the issues did not begin this season. Tensions began to bubble in 2023 after Tyrod Taylor lost the job to Tommy DeVito following an injury. What's up, Alex? Hey, Ron. During Hard Knocks offseason with the Giants, Sheen appeared to indicate that Taylor would return as a backup, but Ronan said that was never going to happen, which proves how out of touch he is with the actual players. The funny thing is that they missed evaluation of the situation. If Hard Knocks was true, they really thought Tyrod was coming back. He wasn't going to come back. He didn't like that he lost his job by injury and to Tommy DeVito. And if the front office really thought that, they're really out of touch. Ultimately, both Sheen and Daboll will return in 2025 unless there's a full mutiny in the locker room or a string of humiliating losses to end the season. The latter is to be determined, but the former has a foothold. And now Sheen and Daboll are relying on Tommy Cutlets to keep their jobs and keep the locker room, spark the locker room, keep their jobs safe. Yeah, good luck with that. Now, this is from a Giants insider. But look, he's trash. Okay? I mean, this is the bottom line. He's trash. I mean, the whole organization is complete trash, man. This is the fucking clown show I did not want to see. For real. Goddamn, it is a clown show. What free agent want to come to that? For real. In other news, Cleveland Cavaliers took their first loss last night at the hands of the Boston Celtics. It was a very entertaining game. They ended up losing by 3 points. Jason Tatum had a double-double. Donovan Mitchell had 35, but it was all for naught. So, yeah. So that's where we at. Yep. See my thoughts on Joel Embiid. So this is the time you guys can ask me anything in the chat room, man. You guys can ask me anything, right? My thoughts on Joel Embiid being a diva. Well, that's he's until he this is that's his reputation, man. That's his reputation, man. Joel Embiid, why you think he's a perennial playoff choke artist and all that? Why you think he always get hurt? He's late. I mean, I'm not gonna call the man lazy or whatever like that, because I'm pretty sure he does do some work behind the scenes and all that, right? But whatever he's doing, the results ain't matching what he's doing. It's just not there. Joel Embiid definitely need to stop being the goddamn diva, right? Think of it this way. Joel Embiid has never played in the conference finals. Now, for a guy who's a former league MVP, a perennial all-star, and he has never played in the conference finals. Forget the NBA finals, right? Because to get to the NBA finals, you got to play in the conference finals. This man has never played in the conference finals all these years in NBA. We think about all the other superstars that have won MVPs and turned around and won championships, whether it be Giannis, whether it be Jokic, right? And we all know how hard we've been on those guys. But for Joel Embiid, for a guy who's a former league MVP and a perennial all-star and was on the Olympic team this year, but he's never played in the conference finals, make it make sense. And part of me wants to believe he campaigned for that MVP. When I listen to these guys talk or whatever like that, man, them guys really don't want it, man. I'm like, but yet you got these guys, you got these motherfuckers out here capping for these dudes out here talking about they're in the highest order and how they compare to this legend, how they compare to that legend. No. Joel Embiid is not up there with the goddamn Wilt Chamberlains and the fucking Kareem Abdul-Jabbars. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. and the Shaquille O'Neals or whatever like that. He don't got that. He don't got it. This man has never played in the conference finals, but yeah, I'm supposed to put him up there with the Kareems and the Shaquille O'Neals and the Wilt Chamberlains or whatever like that. Fuck no. Ain't no way in hell. He ain't even up there with Moses Malone. James Harden, another one. Former league MVP, was a perennial all-star at one point or another like that, man. This dude played in one NBA Finals. One. And that's when he was coming off the bench for OKC. But yeah, he's the greatest scorer in history, right? Okay. All these perennial playoff choke artists, man. Y'all already know what it is. This is gonna be the same shit, man. Because look, when it comes to Joel Embiid, I've seen this movie before. When it comes to playoffs, he's gonna get hurt. He's gonna not show up when it matters most, right? Same thing with James Harden. Same thing with Damian Lillard. Same thing with Paul George, man. All these dudes are the same, man. But yet these guys are top 75 players of all time. How? How? I used to be a big old defender of Damian Lillard, man, but I can't defend this shit no more. I just can't. I can't defend these dudes anymore, man. The NBA is really going out their way to cater to the players and all that, and the players can't seem to get healthy. But they're supposed to be more athletic, more dominant, right? Taller, run faster, jump high, all this other shit, but yet they can't stay healthy. NBA going out their way to give these dudes days off. They get days off between games. They didn't even play on election day. Election day, they got a day off. When Thanksgiving Day comes around and the NFL is playing games, guess who's not playing no games? The NBA. There are no games in the NBA on Thanksgiving. None. They're limited back-to-backs for these players. Hell, during All-Star week, they're going to get a week off. So why are these guys getting hurt? Why are these rash of injuries and all that when the NBA is really going out their way to cater to the players and the schedule and all that shit? You got guys taking spa days because, oh, my knee, I got a bruised knee, I can't play. The fuck out of here. I'm not down with none of that. So, Dame officially a bum? I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't call him a bum. But he definitely ain't no goddamn star. I wouldn't call him a bum. No, people like Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is a bum. Bronny is a bum. But Dame Lillard, no, he ain't no bum. But he definitely ain't no goddamn top 75 player all time. Definitely not that. Come on, Susan Smith. Come on, bring your ass on out and get denied so we can carry on with our goddamn day. Shit. Y'all hurry up. I want to go get a burger at some point, goddammit. And speaking of which, let's talk about Dalton Connect. Now, Dalton Connect had a game of his life last night. This man dropped 37 points, had made like 9 3-pointers, right? He was 9 to 12 from the three. Dalton Connect looked like he could be that real deal, man. And right now, he's in contention, if not the early the early leading candidate for Rookie of the Year. That Dalton Knecht dude is a beast, man. The Lakers definitely nailed that pick. Yeah, AD definitely should be in the league MVP conversation. Definitely. He also should be in Defensive Player of the Year conversation as well. Yeah, I love MVP, man. You know what I'm saying? I love MVP. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised MVP called him that. Why is ESPN talking about Bronny all the damn time, man? Look, ESPN really need to stop that bullshit. Straight up. They really need to stop this bullshit when it comes to Bronny. He's a goddamn scrub. They don't do this to nobody else who's been the 55th overall pick. Man, anytime Bronny does something, it has to be a goddamn ESPN highlight, man. You guys are disgusting, man. But yeah, Dalton Knecht looked like he gonna be that dude, man. He looked like he gonna be that dude. Not the Lakers. I would no trade. There should be absolutely no trade talk for Dalton Knecht. None. You give up Austin Reeves, you give up D'Lo. But definitely no Dalton Knecht trade talk. There better not be no goddamn trade talk for Dalton Knecht. Better not be. If there is, you need to shoot that down on sight. For real. That boy can play. He cooked against New Orleans the other night. Then came on Saturday night. He cooked against New Orleans. Then came back and cooked against the Jazz. Man, look. Dalton Knecht. Hey, I'm telling y'all right now, man. Dalton Knecht is going to cause major problems for people, bro. I'm trying to tell y'all, man. So I think the Lakers have finally found their third option behind AD and LeBron. And it's going to be Dalton Knecht. It's going to be the rookie, right? A guy who can actually shoot the three. And not only he can shoot the three, he can shoot the three consistently. All right? So we'll see how that plays out moving forward. But right now, the Lakers are unbeaten at home. They're 10-4 in the season. Coming off an easy win against the Jazz or whatever. But I know a lot of people might be complaining about the Lakers' schedule being easy, but this is what I say to that. You beat who's in front of you. Because had the Lakers been losing these games, y'all be destroying them about how they can't beat bad teams and shit. You beat who's in front of you. So what? The Utah Jazz is bad. That's not the Lakers' fault the Utah Jazz suck. You know? So yeah. The Lakers should take care of business against these inferior opponents. Why should they not? Alex Sarr, trash. That's why I think of Alex Sarr, he's trash. I don't know who's doing the scouting for the Wizards, but he's not it, man. He's just not it. Look, man, when you drafted that high, like number one, number two overall, man, you need to be ready to play right now. He's just not ready to play. He's just not ready, man. I don't know what they saw and got dang on I don't know what they saw in him. I just don't know. This man scored no points in the goddamn summer league game for crying out loud. So as far as I'm concerned, yeah. He a bum. He's a goddamn bum. And that's all I gotta say about that. Man, y'all need to come on, man. Y'all need to get this trial going, man. You know what I'm saying? You got David Smith, the ex-husband of Susan Smith, waiting. The family out there waiting. Jordan Poole, he's paying $500,000 to a woman that he went on the first date with. So yeah, no. Jordan Poole, whatever. Ain't nothing I can say about Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole's it is what it is when it comes to Jordan Poole. Clearly, he don't make nobody better. The Wizards stink anyway. They 2-10. Their only two wins came against the Hawks, and the Hawks got their lick back. So the Wizards suck. But then again, who didn't? Who didn't think they was going to suck? Come on, y'all. Let's get this thing going. We want Susan Smith. Bring her ass to the front. What's up, Big Wash? Yeah, you know I was on. I'm trying to get this. I'm trying to watch this. Trying to watch your parole hearing. We want Susan Smith. Yeah, man. We still waiting, man. Unfortunately, we still waiting on. Oh, hold on. So breaking news just came down for the NFL has announced its semifinalists for the Hall of Fame. So Eli Manning, Antonio Gates, and Jared Allen are among the 25 modern era candidates for the 2025 Pro Football Hall of Fame. The Hall announced the semifinalists Wednesday after selection committee cut down a list of 50 nominees made by a newly created screening committee. The list included 6 players in their first years of eligibility and 10 players who were finalists last year. The full selection committee will reduce the list of candidates to 15 finalists who will be voted on at the annual meeting for the Super Bowl that will produce the new class. Players are approved by 80% of the voters to get in, with between 3 and 5 players getting in as the modern day candidates. There will also be votes for 3 seniors candidates, 1 contributor, and 1 coach, with between 1 and 3 people from that group getting into the hall. Leading the group of candidates in their first year eligibility were Eli Manning, Luke Kuechly, Terrell Suggs, Adam Vinatieri, Earl Thomas, and Marshall Yonder. Gates and Allen headlined a group of returning finalists from last year with receivers Torrey Holt and Reggie Wayne. How is Reggie Wayne not in the Hall of Fame? Offensive lineman Willie Anderson and Jari Evans. Defensive backs Darren Woodson. He's not in the Hall of Fame. Eric Allen and Rodney Harrison. He's not in the Hall of Fame neither. Jesus Christ almighty. And running back Fred Taylor also advancing. The returning semifinalists are receivers Anquan Bolden, Steve Smith, and Hines Ward. Defensive lineman Robert Mathis and Vince Wilfork. Linebacker James Harrison and running back Ricky Waters. Offensive lineman Richmond Webb, who retired for the 2002 season, made it to the semifinal stage for the first time. Guard Steve Wisniewski is the semifinalist for the second time, having reached the stage in the second class for the second time in 2014. Manning would look to follow his older brother Peyton Manning into the Hall, following a career with the Giants. He was the number 1 overall pick by the Chargers in 2004 and spent his entire career with the Giants after being traded there. He led the Giants to an upset win over the previously undefeated New England Patriots in the 2007 Super Bowl, throwing a touchdown pass to Plaxico Burress in the final half minute. Then he led another comeback again against the Patriots in Super Bowl 46. Manning is one of 13 quarterbacks to win multiple Super Bowls, with 8 of the 9 who are eligible getting inducted. Only Jim Plunkett has not been inducted, following more recent players such as Brady, Ben Roethlisberger, and Patrick Mahomes, who aren't eligible. And Patrick Mahomes is an active player, so there you go. There's that too. Manning was a 4-time Pro Bowler, never made All-Pro or led the league in any major statistical category, but finished his career with 57,023 passing yards, 366 touchdowns. So we just waiting. We waiting on Susan Smith trial to come on. We waiting for her to come up. We just waiting for Susan Smith to come on and get denied. Come on, y'all. Motherfucker hungry. I am hungry as fuck. We waiting on Susan Smith trial to come up. I'm gonna have to edit this live stream when this thing is over with, so that way it will come up. Now let's see. Let's check some updates. Let's check on some updates. All right, so still other parole hearings are taking place. Susan Smith has not gone before the board yet, so when she does, we're gonna get right down to the action. I cannot wait. We just waited patiently for Susan Smith to get the nod. Come on, y'all. Dave Chappelle, that ain't your wife. All right, let's see. They still hold on. We're gonna switch things up. We're gonna switch things up a little bit. Said prison guard was simping. Yeah, I bet that prison guard was simping, Ted. What the parole board doing? They eating Bojangles with David Smith and shit. What they doing? We starting to see people starting to sit down and all that. Yeah, the prison guard was trying to get his nut. You know what I'm saying? Let's just be honest. You know, that's right. We live. Y'all watching the Sports and Political Channel LB. We is live for the Susan Smith parole hearing. We is live in living color. You can do what you wanna do and live in color. You know what I'm saying? You can do what you wanna do and live in color. That's right. I want them to tell her ass to her face that she got denied. You know, as a South Carolinian, I was not going to miss this one. My thoughts on the Survivor Series War Games, it's setting up to, you know what? It's setting to be very, very entertaining. I cannot wait for Survivor Series and all that. It centers around the bloodline. We're going to see a couple rematches. I think Cody Rhodes is going to defend the WWE Championship against Kevin Owens. And then you have a situation to where Damian Priest and Gunther is going to go at it for the World Heavyweight Championship. No, I think CM Punk is going to be the fifth guy. I think CM Punk is going to be the fifth guy. Yeah, this is why I say that. If you remember that promo that CM Punk did in Chicago when Paul Heyman came out, right? And Paul Heyman came out saying that, hey, I need you to protect me from them. And then the bloodline came out, and then they had that little teaser. I think CM Punk is going to be the fifth guy, and CM Punk is a Paul Heyman guy. Remember, Brock is they can't bring Brock back because of that whole lawsuit that's out there right now, that whole pending lawsuit. So it's not going to be Brock. I know a lot of people wanted to be Brock. I'll be shocked if it was Brock. I'm going to keep it 100. If it was Brock, I would be totally shocked. But I don't think it's going to be Brock. I just don't think so. I think it's going to be CM Punk. And then that will kickstart the rivalry. That will kickstart the whole thing between CM Punk and Seth Rollins for WrestleMania. I believe Survivor Series is when CM Punk and Seth Rollins going to kickstart their WrestleMania feud. We got people filing to the courtroom now. Almost showtime, right? It's almost showtime. We got people filing to the courtroom. See, some of the parole board members are in attendance. I want them to tell her ass to her face that she not getting out. It's in most cases, yeah, but in this one, I don't think so. I don't think so. Like I said, South Carolina, they don't give first-time parole applicants parole. They just don't. They just don't do that. 1% of the time in South Carolina, where they actually gives a first-time parole applicant parole. That only happened 1% of the time. So in all likelihood, it's gonna get rejected. But hey, like my man LVZ always say, man, never put anything past a white person. Never. You can never assume anything. But given her record in prison when she's out there having sex with the guards and got caught back in August, talking with a producer about a documentary and shit and having fantasy phone sex with one of her handlers and shit, she ain't getting out. I think I made Kareem. Yeah, she was at. You ain't know? Y'all ain't know she was having phone sex with one of her sugar daddies and shit? Talk about what she.
Thank you. Ms. Hunter, if you can advise when the recording has resumed.
Oh, shit.
The recording has resumed. Thank you. It's 10:45 a.m. We're resuming our hearings. We're heading to Goodman for case number 14, Danica Felder. Case number 14, Danica Felder, and she has supporters. One moment as both parties connect. Hello there, Goodman, confirming you are Ms. Danica Felder. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And their support site confirming you are here in support of Ms. Felder. Can you all verbally advise you are in support of Ms. Felder? Yes. Thank you for joining you before the board. Please wait for the chairman to address you.
Good morning, Ms. Felder, and good morning to the ladies at Watkins. Thank you so much for joining us today. Ms. Felder, please tell us what you have done to get ready for parole.
I took classes, a lot of self-meditating and going to church and just getting myself together to get parole and going up for trying for housing and putting in applications for halfway house.
Is your plan to go to a halfway house if you are paroled?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, you were convicted of voluntary manslaughter. Were you under the influence of drugs or alcohol when you committed this crime?
No, ma'am.
And what, if anything, would you say to your victim's family if you could speak to them?
I'm sorry. I hate that it's happening. I wish I could take it all back. I'm a changed person. I'm not the way I used to be, and I just want a chance to get out of here and just make things right and live a good life and be a positive citizen and give back. And I think it's happening. I'm sorry. I'm very remorseful.
All right, Ms. Felder, how can you assure us that something like this would never happen again if we granted you parole?
Staying around positive people, not doing things that I used to, keeping a track mind, staying in the church, raising my son, and working and living a positive life.
All right, thank you. What's the most important thing that you've learned while you've been incarcerated?
That it's okay to walk away and realizing what I did wrong and changing myself and realizing how I can be a better person and taking the steps to be a better person.
Is there anything else that you would like to tell us today before I give your supporters a chance to speak?
I just pray that I'm given a chance. I'm not where I used to be anymore. I changed in so many ways, and I'm very remorseful and wish to have a second chance at life.
Right, I see that you had an infraction in April of 2023 for some type of narcotic. What were you using then?
I was Limeron. I was sleeping medication.
All right, are you still?
And now I have my own prescription for it.
You do, okay. Are you working with mental health?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that helpful to you?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that something that you would be willing to continue to comply with if you are paroled?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, ladies at Watkins, I need each of you to please state your name for the record and your relationship to Ms. Felder, please.
Susan.
My name is Barbara Isaac. I am Danika's aunt.
Susan.
Thank you, Ms. Isaac. The other lady?
My name is Cindy Felder, and I'm Danika's mom.
Thank you, Ms. Felder. We appreciate both of you ladies being here to support her today. Do either of you wish to speak on her behalf?
Didn't understand the question.
I just said, would either of you like to speak on behalf of Ms. Felder?
Yeah, like I said, I'm Danica aunt, and I knew her all her life, when she born. And sometimes my kids, tend to stray away, even though they brought up in the church. But, life is like a learning thing. Things happen. And I just pray that you hope that you guys can, kind of give her another chance, to prove herself. So I just, like I said, I do all of her life. And she's pretty kids and it's an excuse for what she did. But I just hope that she's learned that things don't have to be the way it turned out to be.
Thank you, Ms. Isaac. Ms. Felder, do you wish to speak?
Yes, I think she learned a lesson, and I pray that y'all grant her mercy. She do have a 12-year-old son, and he misses her and loves her very much. And I feel that she learned a lesson, and I hope y'all grant her mercy.
Thank you. Again, we appreciate you being here. She's very fortunate to have your support. Are there any other questions from the board? All right, ladies, thank you for joining us. If all of you will please exit the rooms, we will have an answer for you later today. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you.
One moment, that's going to be included too. And the room is clear.
Boy, this is not. Oh shit!
Number 1, 3, 4, and
Oh
6.
shit! Everybody say no.
Thank you. Our next case will be case number 37, Matthew Thomas. Case number 37, Matthew Thomas. One moment as Tiger River connects.
Everybody did that. Oh shit!
Hello there, Tiger River, confirming you are Mr. Matthew Randall Thomas.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for joining you before the board. Please wait for the chairman to address you.
Good morning, Mr. Thomas. We hope you are doing well today. Please tell us what you have done to get ready for parole.
I've been I've been doing ANOVO certificates. I've been finding a house, a halfway house to go to. And I don't know what else to say.
Which halfway house have you applied to?
Oh shit!
It's called the AYA house.
Okay, and what is your plan beyond that?
To find a good job and save up my money and like buy a car, buy a house, do everything I should have done before I got arrested.
Mr. Thomas, you were convicted of criminal sexual conduct with a minor, third degree. Were you under the influence of drugs or alcohol when you committed your crime?
Yes, ma'am.
And what, if anything, have you done to address those issues?
I've been going to Narcotics Anonymous. I've been hanging out with people that are trying to stay clean and do the right thing and all that.
How long have you been clean?
Since August 28th.
Are you working with mental health?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that helpful to you?
No.
It is.
Right. Is this probation violation still pending?
I don't think so. I had a friend call up there and she said they didn't have any warrants for me in North Carolina, so.
All right. Is there anything else that you would like to tell us today?
Just regardless if I make it or not, I'm improving myself, so that's it.
Do you understand that you will need to register as a sex offender if you are granted parole or when you max out your sentence?
Yes, ma'am.
We thank you for coming in, Mr. Thomas. Are there any additional questions from the board?
No, ma'am.
All right. If you will please exit the room, sir, we'll have an answer for you later today. Thank you for your time.
Deny.
Thank you.
One moment as the room clears. And the room is clear. We do have additional testimony facilitated by the Office of Victim Services.
Please wait as we have the victims join from Central Office and also Anderson Remote Office.
Good morning.
Yes, Anderson Remote Office?
Yes, we're here.
Yes. Can you please state your name and your relationship to the case of Matthew Thomas?
I'm Carmen Jensen, and I'm the mother of one of the victims.
Joanne Jensen, and I'm one of the victims.
Thank you both. Please wait for the board to address you.
Thank you, ladies. We do have two other people here in Central Office. Ladies, I need you to please state your name for the record and your interest in this case.
My name's Rebecca Reed, and I'm the mother of the victim.
My name's Kaylee Dupree, and I'm the older sister of the victim.
Thank you all so very much for being here with us today. We are so very, very sorry for the circumstances that brought you to be a part of this hearing, but we certainly appreciate you joining us. We do have the facts of the offense, and we've heard from Mr. Thomas. At this time, we'd like to hear from you all whether you are for or against parole, and if anyone would like to make a statement, you are certainly welcome to do so. Would you all like to begin here in Central, or the folks at the satellite office in Anderson? Who would like to start?
I can start.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
That's fine.
Again, I'm Rebecca Reed. I'm the mother of the victim, Chloe Dupree. I'm here today. I wrote what I was going to say because I didn't want to forget it. To express my extreme opposition to the parole of Matthew Thomas. On October 5th, 2021, he committed a horrific sexual assault against my daughter, Chloe. This crime committed in front of 11-year-old Bella has had a devastating and irreversible impact on both Chloe and Bella's lives. Chloe has endured severe trauma, including multiple suicide attempts, one of which left her in ICU.
Damn.
She's been in and out of mental institutions. Bella, who witnessed the assault, has also been deeply affected, experiencing her.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you right now, that Bama ain't getting out. He go ahead and hang it up.
With Chloe, as the family has been deeply damaged, and I'm deeply concerned about her future as well as the lasting effects on Bella. I want the parole board to know that I don't have a hate for Matthew Thomas. I've known Matthew Thomas since he was 12 years old. When he was a troubled teen, I took him in and I tried to help him before my children were born. And despite my best efforts to guide him, he continued to struggle. Matthew was in the hospital the day Chloe was born. So it's with a heavy heart that I have to be here today before you. More recently, he came to Myrtle Beach seeking my support in sobriety. His attempts at sobriety were inconsistent, and with one period lasting up to a year, but ultimately he was unable to maintain it. The assault happened with Chloe while she was babysitting a friend's dog with her younger friend Bella. Matthew Thomas showed up at the house. He convinced her to try alcohol for the first time and convinced her to take extra seizure meds. While she was drugged, he sexually assaulted her in front of an 11-year-old. This experience has left Chloe struggling with severe PTSD, anxiety, and depression. She has difficulty trusting people and has become increasingly withdrawn. Chloe's trauma is manifested in numerous ways. She has nightmares and flashbacks that make it difficult for her to sleep. She's become isolated, withdrawing from friends and family, and has lost interest in activities she once enjoyed. The emotional and psychological scars are profound. And despite ongoing therapy, her recovery is slow and still uncertain. Chloe dropped out of school. She stopped taking care of herself physically. She's even shaved her head in a moment of duress. Bella, too, has been affected, struggling with fear, anxiety, and trust issues as a result of witnessing the assault. Matthew Thomas has a history of drug abuse, and the fact that he was on probation at the time of the assault further demonstrates his disregard for the law and his potential to reoffend. His actions show a pattern of behavior that poses a continued threat to society. To my knowledge, he's shown no remorse for his action and hasn't taken responsibility for the harm he caused. The lack of accountability is deeply concerning and suggests that he has not undergone necessary rehabilitation to ensure his harm to others in the future. His inability to maintain sobriety, even with support, and his history of violating probation continues to highlight his disregard for legal boundaries and societal norms. The fact that he committed such a heinous crime while on probation underscores his potential danger to the community. If released, I feel there's a significant risk he could reoffend, putting others at risk of similar harm. Furthermore, that lack of remorse and failure to take responsibility for his actions suggests he has not internalized the gravity of his crime. The mindset is dangerous as it indicates a lack of empathy and understanding and consequences of his actions. Without genuine remorse, commitment to change is unlikely, and he will not be able to reintegrate into society safely. May he be eligible for parole while Chloe continues to live with the devastating consequences of his actions. It's unjust that he should be granted an opportunity to move forward with his life while she continues to suffer. The impact on our family has been profound. We do live with the emotional toll on all of us, and it has been immense. Chloe's siblings are also affected as they struggle to understand and cope with what happened to their sister and why she changed. I urge you to consider the severity of Matthew Thomas's crime and that you do not grant him parole. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Reed. And again, we are so very, very sorry for all that your family has been through. And we certainly hope that Chloe will be well. Ladies at Anderson, do either of you wish to speak?
I do.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm very much opposed to Matthew being on parole or released in any way early. I go by Nikki. My name is Nikki Jensen. My daughter is Bella. And the best way I can describe it, because Becca hit it way better than I ever could, is that their family was the first family that I found in recovery. Our kids bonded rather quickly. And, you know, through all the 2 years in recovery together, we have grown very, very close. So though our kids are friends, we are very much like a family. And when Matthew came to that area and had been in Becca's life for so long, you know, we all welcomed him and never thought twice about welcoming him as another one of us. None of us ever foresaw this happening. And like Becca said, our kids have not been the same since. Their bond has not been the same since. My daughter watched something shortly after she was honest about something that happened to her in her past. So it was like back-to-back trauma for her. And neither girl has been the same since. Their friendship's not the same. The family dynamics are not the same. I watched Bella struggle with relationships with men to begin with, developing them with any level other than her grandfather or her brother. She just cannot. She doesn't trust. She has severe anxiety issues. I'm very grateful that they have not gone to the extent of Chloe's, but I have stood beside Becca as she has stood beside Chloe through all of the after effects of everything that has happened, and neither girl has been the same since. And I do not feel that it would be just in any way for Matthew to get out any earlier than he already. I'm sorry, but I personally did not think that the time he was given was enough. So to get out early would just be horrific to me. I think my daughter already knows that we moved to this area over the summer, and we were notified shortly thereafter that Matthew has moved not too far from our area, and she already has anxiety about that. So having him free, I honestly I don't know that I'm ready to deal with the effects that would come from that. So I'm very much opposed to him getting out. I'm sorry I'm not as eloquent as Becca, and I could not write it out. I didn't know what I was going to want to say, but thank you.
And thank you. We certainly appreciate all of your comments. Young ladies, do either of you wish to speak? You certainly do not have to, but if you would like to say anything, you're welcome to do that.
Bella doesn't.
Thank you. It's okay if you don't want to speak.
Yeah, I know. I know it's okay. I would like to.
Okay.
I remember how we found out it happened. Whenever Chloe, I never saw it coming, honestly. They were really, really close, her and Matthew. And I kind of just thought, she's got an older friend to hang out with. I hung out with some older people too. Matthew was a family friend, so nobody ever really thought twice about it. Whenever he would, Chloe didn't even think to call or ask if Matthew should be there coming in the house. And I remember we found out whenever Chloe first tried to kill herself, and she wrote a letter because she expected to actually do it, telling her to ask Bella what happened that night. And none of us knew what happened that night. I don't remember how we found out, but it was my mom who found out first, as far as I know, that Chloe had been raped by Matthew. And honestly, I didn't want to believe it at first, but it's not like Bella or Chloe would lie about that. So it was totally messed up to hear about, and mine and Chloe's relationship has not been the same since that has happened. She used to come to me for everything, and now she's always trying to protect me from everything like I don't know anything. But I know this stuff. I'm her older sister, and she's always trying to protect me from everything that happened, telling me everything's fine. When I know it's not fine, she has that look on her face whenever it's not fine. And she hides everything from everyone. I find stuff out because, I hang out with her all the time. Before she left, when she left for Texas, she didn't tell anybody she was actually leaving. But I think I understand why she left from here. Things have been horrible here ever since that happened to her. But I don't want him out of there. No. Okay, I think I'm done talking now.
Thank you so much for sharing with
You know,
us. We are very,
oh man,
very
that
brave
Batman ain't going nowhere, bro.
for joining us, and we thank you for sharing your thoughts.
I'm gonna tell y'all right now, that Batman ain't going nowhere, bro. He is. They're gonna be a unanimous denial. Watch what I tell you. He ain't going nowhere.
We wish you all the very best. If nobody else has anything that they would like to share, if you all will exit the rooms, we'll have an answer for you later today. Ladies, here, you can exit with these ladies right over here. Thank you so much. We wish you well. Thank you, ladies in Anderson.
Please wait as the room clears. Anderson remote site is clear.
The room at Central is clear. Mr. Matthew Thomas will be on parole.
I mean, unanimous denial.
Numbers 1, 4, 5, and 6. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next case will be case number 7, James Bruton Jr. Case number 7, James Bruton Jr. One moment as Tiger River connects. Hello there, Tiger River. Confirm you are Mr. James William Bruton Jr.
Yes, ma'am.
For joining you before the board, please wait for the chairman to address you.
Good morning, Mr. Bruton. We hope you're doing well today. Please tell us what you have done to get ready for parole.
Well, I've been taking the trade, staying active.
What trade have you been working on?
I'm doing auto body.
And is that something that you would want to do on the outside?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have a place to live, sir?
Yes, I do.
And where is that?
120 Westover Drive with my aunt, Mary Mountain Lane, Bruton.
Mr. Bruton, were you under the influence of drugs or alcohol when you committed this murder?
Alcohol, yes, ma'am.
And what have you done about that, your issues with alcohol?
Well, I took something of Blue Bruce and drove the Blue Bruce classes since I've been in.
How do you feel about the crime that you committed?
I hate it happened. I'm very sorry that it happened. It was a decision I shouldn't have never made.
What's the most important thing that you've learned during your incarceration?
Well, to be obedient and obey the law and rules and regulations.
Is there anything else that you would like to tell us today, sir?
No, ma'am.
Are there any other questions from the board? All right, Mr. Bruton, thank you so much for your time, sir. We appreciate you coming in this morning. If you will exit the room, we will have an answer for you later today. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you, officers.
A moment as the room clears. And the room is clear, and we do have additional testimony facilitated by our Office of Victim Services.
Please wait as the victim joins virtually. Lieutenant Harwell?
Yes.
Yes, good morning. Please state your name and your relationship to the case of James Bruton.
Yes, my name is Lieutenant Doug Harwell. I'm with the Spartanburg Police Department, and I oppose parole for Mr. Bruton.
Oh.
Please wait for the board to address you, sir.
Good morning, Lieutenant Harwell. We hope you are doing well this morning. Thank you so much for joining us. At this time, we would like to know if you are opposed to parole or if you were in favor, and if you'd like to make any additional statement, you are certainly welcome to do so.
Thank you. On behalf of the police department, we oppose parole. I was reviewing the case. It's one of those cases that it kind of shocks you a little bit. I'm sure the board's looked over the case, but Mr. Bruton, the homicide itself is bad, but he hit him with a pipe, thought he was dead, come back later, seen he wasn't dead, hit him again. Then after he was dead, he left. It just, Chief Thompson told us that, and he's mentioned it several times, that you can't rehabilitate evil. I think those actions pretty much describe evil. We think that he rightly deserves the sentence he got, and we just asked the parole board to let him continue serving the sentence that he earned.
Thank you, Lieutenant Harwell. We appreciate your time and your comments, sir. Someone from Victim Services will be back in touch with you shortly to let you know the outcome of the hearing. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you got that, mammoth.
Please wait as the room clears. And the room is clear.
Mr. Jr. is denied parole. The vote is unanimous. Numbers 1, 2, and 3. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next case will be case number 39, Charles Tyson. Case number 39, and Charles Tyson, and he does have supporters. One moment as both parties connect. Hello there at Tiger River. Confirm you are Mr. Charles Tyson.
Yes, I'm Charles Tyson.
Thank you, sir. And there at our support site, confirm you are here in support of Mr. Tyson.
Yvonne Tyson.
Thank you both for joining you before the board. Please wait for the chairman to address you.
Good morning, Mr. Tyson, and good morning to the lady at Watkins. Thank you so much for joining us. Mr. Tyson, please tell us what you have done to get ready for parole.
Well, I stayed married. I work in the chapel. I've been part of several programs. One in particular, the Academy of Hope at Lee County, which was a violence interruption program that was established there in 2019 in an effort to quell the gang violence that was at the prison. I'm married, I got a wife, I got a home.
All right, tell us what's the most important thing that you've learned during your incarceration.
That there's consequences for actions, whether they're good or bad. If you make bad decisions, bad consequences follow. If you make good decisions, we expect that good consequences will follow.
Mr. Tyson, what, if anything, would you say to your victim's family if you had the opportunity to speak to them at this point in your life?
That how sorry I am, and that I wish that day never would have happened, and I wish I would have been more clearer thinking. I wish I was growner. I wish I had a better understanding.
What the fuck is groaner? You mean more grown? What the fuck is groaner?
Influence of drugs or alcohol?
That rhymes with boner.
Probably smoking some marijuana at that time.
Do you have any issues with drugs or alcohol at this point in your life?
Well, I haven't been high in a while. Since 2013, I do believe.
All right. Is there anything else that
if I was to be granted parole and I had to take classes or whatever y'all say do, that's what I would do. That's what I would do. Whatever you say do.
Thank you, sir. Is there anything else that you want to tell us before I give your supporter a chance to speak?
My supporter.
Sir, I'm sorry. Can you repeat what you said?
I said, my supporter right there, she can speak.
Okay, all right, thank you. Ma'am, would you please state your name for the record and your relationship to Mr. Tyson?
My name is Yvonne Tyson, and I'm Charles Tyson's wife.
Thank you so much for being here today. We certainly appreciate that. Would you like to make a statement on his behalf?
Yes, I would. I would like to say that I've been with Charles Tyson for 35 years, and I've grown to know him, and I know his heart, and I know that he loves, he loves people. And not only that, during the whole 35 years, we've always talked about the wrong decision that he made and how he hurt the Joyner's family. And if he could do a do-over, he would do it. And, he's been doing a lot of good things. I know back in 2020, when they had COVID real bad, and not even the officers wanted to take care of all of the COVID patients, because at Lee County, they were all housed at Lee County. And so they knew that somebody, that somebody had to do it, and the inmates needed help. And so he and 3 other guys, they went in and they took care of these guys that were, infected with COVID-19. And during that time, I contacted my church and we prayed 24 hours a day, because it was so dangerous, to the point where not even the officers or the medical staff wanted to go in and take care of the inmates. But they knew without a shadow of a doubt, that somebody had to do it, and they stepped up to the plate. And I know that's true love, because the word of God says, greater love that a man would lay down his life for a friend. And that's what they were doing. And I was telling my church exactly what they did. And so the pastor set it up where, we all would pray for them around the clock. And to God be the glory, he took care of them. And not only did he take care of them while they were taking care of the inmates, that were infected with COVID-19. And I know without a shadow of a doubt that his heart has changed, that he will be a blessing, to the young men and young ladies out here, in society, because he's really helped our kids and also the kids at church by hearing, his testimony and so forth. And I really do believe that if you were to grant him parole, you will see. And if he could talk personally to the family, he would tell them how sad and how sorry he is, because he tells me that all the time, and we pray about it. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mrs. Tyson. We appreciate your comments, and we thank you for being here so very much. Are there any other questions from the board? Thank you both for joining us this morning. If you all will please exit the rooms, we will have an answer for you later today. Thank you.
One moment as the room clears. And the room is clear, and we do have additional testimony facilitated by Officer of Victim Services.
Please wait as the victim joins virtually.
Murder, armed robbery. What the fuck is that shit? Man, that's how you know my vision's going. Murder, armed robbery.
Thank you both for joining us this morning. If you all will please exit the rooms, we will have an answer for you later today. Thank you.
One moment as the room clears.
Murder, armed robbery.
And the room is clear, and we do have additional testimony facilitated.
Case of Charles Tyson.
I'm John Poston, and he was my uncle.
Yes, sir. And is someone else with you there?
My mother's here.
Okay, if she would, please state her name and relationship to the case.
My name is Myra Poston, and I'm sorry, what was the last one you said?
What is your relationship to Uncle Charlie?
Yeah, the relationship to Charlie was my brother.
Thank you both. If you would, please wait for the board to address you.
All right, thank you.
Good morning. Thank you so very much for joining us. We are so sorry for the circumstances that brought you to be a part of this hearing, but we appreciate you taking the time to speak with us. At this time, we would like to know whether you are for or against parole, and if either of you wishes to make a statement, you are certainly welcome to do so.
Hell no.
We're definitely against it. Like we've been doing now for I don't know how many years, being inconvenienced and can't move on from this situation. And watching everybody used to come and help us with these parole hearings, either passed away or whatever. So I'm kind of now the only one left to handle all this. But I oppose it on two main reasons. Again, I'll reiterate like the last several years. The first one being that he was my uncle, a family member. And he was like my big brother. And my mom actually asked me just now, how long ago has he been passed away? And I looked, and it's been 43 years now. And every single day, it seems like 1981 back in my mind, especially when it comes to this time of year. So that thought process will never disappear, or we get over it, move on. But, as far as that goes, he was like my big brother. I loved him, and I wish he could have been here longer to be with me. And, I was telling her today, he got me involved in football when I was a little boy. He went to North Myrtle Beach High. I went to West Florence, and they're actually playing tomorrow, Friday night in the playoffs. And I would have loved to go with him to that, but as you can see, that's impossible now. But as a family member, I definitely oppose it. As a law enforcement officer that's been retired now 25 years and provides security for under a proprietary license under SLED for a church/school, I definitely oppose it from that perspective, mainly because this guy supposedly had robbed my uncle one time already, then robbed him again, and the second time he ended up killing him, shooting him twice. And if that wasn't even bad enough, he decides to shoot at a law enforcement officer that was responding to the scene. I take that very personally on a number of reasons. And based on his past history, there's not been one time have I listened to the tapes or anything where he comes out and just says he's sorry, or, he doesn't repent. He doesn't say anything to us or apologize for his behavior or ask for forgiveness. It's more or less, hey, I'm a changed man. I'm a Christian. I sing. I got married, blah, 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 and all that. So it's like he hasn't changed one bit, in my opinion. Again, going back to where he wrote the book on judicial lynching, making a mockery of our justice system, which we do have flaws. Being a cop, I understand the flaws that do exist in our justice system, but we can't let someone like that make a mockery out of it. And so, for mainly all those reasons and other victims that have to deal with situations like this every single year and can't move on, I totally deny parole. I request a denial of parole for this guy.
Thank you, Mr. Poston. Mrs. Poston, do you wish to make a statement?
Yes, of course, this was my brother, and he was just so young and taking care of everybody, my mother and all that, and this person who has done so badly to us, and some of the words he even said when I was around. So I just definitely do not want him to be released out into the wild earth, I guess you want to say. But yes, I definitely deny that.
Deny, saying,
Thank you.
deny,
And again,
deny,
we are
deny.
very, very sorry for the circumstances that brought y'all to be a part of this hearing, but thank you for your time and your comments. Someone from Victim Services will be back in touch with you shortly to let you know the outcome of the hearing. Thank you, and we wish you well.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Please wait as the room clears. And the room is clear.
Mr. Charles Tyson is denied parole. The vote is unanimous. Numbers 1, 3, and 6. Thank you.
Damn.
Thank you. And at this time, we will pause for a 5-minute break. Ms. Hunter, if you can advise when the recording has been paused.
The recorder has been paused.
Thank you. We will take a brief 5-minute break and we'll be back shortly.
You know, that's a good question, right? She married that dude when he was in prison. So how well did she? That's a good question. 35 years? Really? This incident happened in 1981. That's greater than 35 years ago. So she married this dude when he was in prison, huh? So how'd you get a conjugal visit? How'd you get sex? Yeah, too raw, he got denied. Unanimous denial. Hey, I wish that camera could move over to the side so I can see who that chick is or whatever like that, because she look good. Who that chick is on the side talking to that old lady? You know what I'm saying? I want to get freaky with you. Let me lick you up and down till you say stop. Not that one right there. Ugh. Yeah, he got denied too, Raw. We're on a 5-minute break. Yeah, he got denied. That boy just unanimous. Hey, man, I'm telling you, man, South Carolina, man, hey, when you offer parole in South Carolina, boy, good luck. Good luck getting parole, because your ass not getting out, bro. Yeah, man, they laid that story on thick, man. You know what I'm saying? It was looking good for them until them white people start talking. When them white folks start talking, you know, especially that one lady, when they started talking, man, I was like, yep, go about to take a needle to that bubble. Yep. Till the victim started talking, and then the victim's family white. Oh yeah, you know he not getting out. Go ahead, hang that up, buddy. Far as I'm concerned, that Bama ain't never gonna get out. I definitely oppose his appeal to get parole. Yeah, when he said that, yeah, you pretty much done. Then it brought those details. Yeah. Game over for you, buddy. Thank you for playing. Come back in 2 years. I want to know who that lady is right there. You want to know the phone sex? Oh, you want to know steamy details, huh? While we got a minute, right? Oh, yeah, get it, Daddy. Yeah. All right, so let's talk about this, right? This is back in July. Okay? So, back in July, child killer Susan Smith reportedly having phone sex with potential suitors as parole hearing nears. Convicted child killer Susan Smith is allegedly having phone sex with potential suitors as her first parole hearing nears, as she was jailed for life for killing her 2 children back in 1995. Smith was 22 when she strapped her 2 children, Michael 3, Alex 14 months, into the car, let the car roll in John D. Lick before they were found, all that good stuff, right? Y'all heard that, right? Y'all know that, right? The New York Post back in July reviewed transcripts and recorded phone calls that show that she was giving phone sex to sugar daddies who want to take care of her because she thought she served enough time, and she probably still thinks that, in prison for the 1994 murder of her 2 young children, a case that shocked the nation and made her a household name for all the wrong reasons. Because you fucking blame the black man. As a result, she's hard at work finding sugar daddies willing to bankroll her life on the outside, and the 52-year-old inmate is not above engaging in love phone sex to lure them in, according to call records reviewed by the Post. Now, hold on. Oh my God, I got that. Hold on. Oh, we're gonna continue on before they come back. Because the article I was reading, she said it was time for her to get out. She told one suitor earlier this year she done her time, she's ready to go. In a March conversation with one suitor, she asked him how she can support herself if she gets out. He told her that he has a large nest egg waiting for her if she's paroled, a combination of funds from the sale of family property, gifts from admirers, and money that he has saved up. I'll tell you what I did last night thinking of you, the caller told Smith. I made a spreadsheet that starts out with $213,000. You're going to have more than that. I think you'll be in the $220,000 range, all put together. The man continued, you can spend $40,000 a year while you withdraw from that balance. It's still earning interest on the undrawn amount. In 20 years' time, you would have spent most all of that, but you still have some of it to spend. After a short pause, Smith sighed. I love you so much. I love you too. Before he replied, before they began making kissing noises, he's like, mwah, 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 mwah. Right? The conversation then turned sexual, completed with giggling, heavy breathing. I'm going to have you in the front seat of my car, the man said after speculating what she looked like in a wet t-shirt. Disgusting. Oh, you're so bad. She responded with a giggle. I have some ideas of things we can do, but before I'm going to make you regularly scream before I tell you. Oh, baby, I'm already squiggling and screaming. But this man is not alone. She carried on at least with a dozen men. She has carried on sexual and romantic conversation with at least a dozen men in the past 3 years, according to prison call recordings, which is public under South Carolina law, and I have no plans to listen to that shit. In another conversation with a different man from late last year, she speculated how she could wake him up in the morning. I have ways of getting your attention, she teased. I can get you up in the morning, and I mean up. The reality is Smith is unlikely to be paroled on her first attempt or possibly ever, according to experts. Yeah, so that's her right there having fantasy sex, right? That's like my motherfucker play fantasy football on Sunday, right? But guess what? You ain't never getting out. You're gonna continue to rub your pussy in that fucking rotten ass 6x9 cell with the fucking toilet with the digi dookie stains in it. Nah. So Ted, I hope that satisfied you, because it sure as hell didn't satisfy me having to read that. But hey, I'm here to entertain the people, right? Now who that chick? I want to know who that chick is right there, because she looked good from afar. I need you to turn around, miss. Turn around. God damn it, she won't turn around. All right, they look like they're about to come back in action. All right, breaking news. The man who killed Lincoln Riley has been convicted in her murder. So the Venezuelan migrant has been convicted in the killing of Georgia nursing student Lincoln Riley, a case that fueled the national debate over immigration during the year's presidential election. Jose Ibarria was charged with murder and other crimes in her February death, and the guilty verdict was reached Wednesday by Athens Clarke County Superior Court Judge H. Patrick Haggard. The 26-year-old had waived his right to a jury trial, meaning that Haggard alone heard and decided the case. Happy days are here again. Never, never.
I'm sorry, I still had you muted. My apologies.
The board is, I just need to confirm there is another conversation. Is everything?
We want Susan.
Yes, ma'am, we are ready. Thank you.
We want Susan.
Thank you so much. Ms. Hunter, if you can advise when the recording has begun.
The recorder has begun.
Thank you. The time now is 11:41 a.m. We're resuming our hearings. Our next case will be case number 34. Case number 34, Susan Smith.
Here we go!
One moment as Leith connects, and she does have supporters, and will be represented by attorney Tommy Thomas.
Thank you.
One moment as all parties connect.
Ms. Brown Hennerhan, I do have a statement that I need to read into the record, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I have received this correspondence. It is addressed to the Honorable Chair Kimberly Frederick, dated November 20th, 2024. Please be advised that I will recuse myself in the parole hearing of Susan Smith, number 221487. I was acting warden at Correctional Center in 1999, where inmate Smith was housed, and subsequently transferred to Leith Correctional Institution. I have determined that it is appropriate to recuse to eliminate any appearance of affecting her opportunity for parole. Respectfully, Geraldine P. Miro. Thank you, Mrs. Miro. This is accepted. If you would please exit the room. Thank you. Mrs. Miro has recused herself of this case and has exited the room. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have moved her site into the lobby briefly. And one moment as we admit all parties. There at Leith, ma'am, confirming you are Miss Susan Smith.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. And Attorney Tommy Thomas, are you able to hear us?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Thank you. And there at the support site, confirm you are here in support of Miss Susan Smith.
They're asking, can you hear?
Yes, we can hear.
And you're here in support of Miss Smith?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you all for joining you before the board. Please wait for the chairman to address you.
Good morning, Ms. Smith. Good morning, Mr. Thomas, and good morning to the folks at Watkins. Thank you all for being here with us today. We hope everyone is doing well. Ms. Smith, I want you to know that we have received the packet of information that Mr. Thomas's office provided to us on your behalf, and we have reviewed that packet. So thank you for submitting that in advance of this hearing today. Mr. Thomas, are you going to begin, or is your client going to begin?
Yes, ma'am, I'll be glad to begin.
Yes, sir.
Members of the board, good morning. This is Susan Smith's parole hearing. This has probably been one of the most difficult cases that I have had to put together for a parole presentation. Just lots of different factors to consider. She's been convicted of murder, of course. She has served 30 years, and she was 23 at the time that this incident occurred. She was sentenced to life with the eligibility of parole, so that's why she is here today. I'm not really going to speak much about the crime. There are some things that I want to cover, and that's not out of disrespect. We were very concerned about that. Today is Susan's parole hearing, and so today is going to be about Susan, and I want to make sure that the things that are important not only to her but to this hearing and this board are presented, and I want to thank you in advance for your time to listen to everything. This story is really a mental health story. Some of this stuff, I've known Susan for a couple of years, and we've been working on this case. One of the things when I first met her was, of course, trying to kind of figure out some rhyme or reason as to, how these things have happened, and was able to find and have someone come to see her on a routine basis for counseling, and also to try to help her, through the daily things with Department of Corrections. As a result, that's kind of what I came to the conclusion was it is a mental health story. It's about the dangers of untreated mental health. It is about the lack of insight, the lack of diagnosis into mental health, and it's about stigmas, old stigmas. Of course, I'm 68 years old. I remember those. Hopefully they're not as bad today. Susan was hospitalized as a young teen for a short period of time for mental health treatment. And not to disparage anybody, but her mom was telling folks that she was in the hospital because she had a strep infection. So those were things that we didn't talk about. Those were things that were pushed under the rug, so to speak, because they were embarrassing. They showed weakness. I don't know what they showed, but they showed up and culminated in Susan as a result of a day that all of this came together and produced some horrendous results. So I think it's important to Susan, if anything comes out of this hearing, it's that people understand there's nothing to be ashamed of. There's nothing and no reason not to reach out and seek treatment. And there is certainly no stigma that should be involved in trying to better yourself and help yourself for yourself and for others, members of the family and everyone. Susan, moving on, Susan is a high school graduate. She has some college with USC Union. She has attended International Christian College, and she's worked on an associate's degree. She's still actually working on that in Christian counseling. She has no prior record that I'm aware of. If paroled, she would be living with her brother, Scotty Vaughn. Scotty is here today and very briefly wanted to address the board. The job for her, she has served 30 years, so she's been in Department of Corrections for a long time, would be through vocational rehab. The PEP program is probation and parole, would know it. And we have made arrangements for aftercare with a licensed mental health professional. You have that information in the packet that's been provided to you. Some of the programs that I took the time to look at and I'm not going to speak about all of those because you have those in the packet. The ones that I think are important and relevant today is the self-harmers group. She has attempted to commit suicide on several different occasions within the Department of Corrections. 7 Habits, Beyond Abuse, Jumpstart, which she is a great fan of. She does not have a drug or alcohol addiction, thank goodness. She has been active on Endovo and the Cipher Works programs, Loss and Grief, healing seminars, women's empowerment, anger management, self-esteem, and domestic violence workshops. I normally, and I've presented a number of parole hearings, I first started with this thinking that it had to be different than normally what I would do as far as a presentation. And I came to the conclusion maybe this week, and it doesn't. I think it is, and I will stick with what I would normally do as far as the structure of my presentation. What I always begin with the board is contributing factors because I believe that's important. We need to know what was going on, why it was going on for the board to be able to make a informed decision about her parole expectations and her parole eligibility and what kind of candidate she is for parole. One of the things that has jumped out at me, and I saw this last night in the media, and I know that Susan wants to speak, and because she feels like it's important to get the truth out there, is this is not about the love for another man. I saw it on local TV about how this was all about another man and him not wanting children. From what I have been able to determine, that is just not true. I have spoken with David Bruck, who was a defense attorney on a number of different occasions. David has been a great source of information in regards to Susan. He indicated to me that this was a theory of a motive by the state. That's where we think it developed. However, this was never proven at trial, and it was actually abandoned by the state. So, but it has stuck. And I just wanted to, I know it's important to her to bring this to your attention. The contributing factors in this case were multiple stress points. They converged all at the same time. And we are certainly not trying to say anything about, the horrificness of this crime. It is, and she was found guilty. But we're trying to kind of maybe present to the parole board how these things developed and how it's possible that something like this could happen. One of the things that has been important in her life, and I think is a huge contributor.
Man, this sounds like a whole bunch of filibustering babble, man. You know what I'm saying? Get to the point.
6, horrific, just horrific. And she blamed herself. How could he leave me? And I think it sets the
No, she blamed herself. She blamed the black man, remember?
mental health issues, some serious depression, which just kind of culminates and continues to snowball. And the lack of, recognition and treatment for this issue with her dad. I mean, it was like the old stigma.
What the fuck does her dad got to do with the fact she killed her 2 kids and shit?
Terrible situations, and that's how it's done. It's not done that way. There was after the birth of her last child, which was also undiagnosed, and
okay, so here's a news flash, right? And I don't really like to take this public or whatever like that, but I suffer from depression, right? And despite the fact that I suffer from depression, guess what I haven't done? I haven't killed any children. I haven't killed anybody for that matter, let alone some children.
That Susan wanted preparation for parole. I found this buried in a bunch of documents that had been provided to me. And it is from Susan. And she says, I believe this is what happened to me on October 25th, 1994. I lost touch with reality. My thoughts were not rational. I don't think I understood that if I allowed this car to go into the lake, that I would never see my children again. The finality of it was not real to me because my thoughts were so screwed up at the time. My mind, I thought, was doing what was best for them. I knew Jesus would take better care of them than I could.
Don't you dare try to bring Jesus and the Lord into this. Don't you fucking dare. Don't you fucking dare try to bring the Lord and Jesus Christ into this. He did not tell you to kill your 2 children. He could take care of them better than I could. What the fuck? What kind of shit is that? This boy.
When I first met her and I would go and see her, remorse is difficult. That's something with the parole hearings that I've presented for years is to how do you say, how do you demonstrate remorse? People do it in different manners. And I always look for that. I always ask my clients, and look for the remorse. I could see the pain on her face. It was so difficult. Talking about things were extremely difficult. And not because she didn't want to talk about them, it's just because it was so hard to talk about them. So I think that she is truly remorseful for what happened. And I think she would do anything in the world to bring these children back.
Yeah, right. Man, she want to get out so she can have phone sex with her sugar daddy and real sex with another one.
Things I think is important is that she has no prior history. Nothing that would lead up to that someone would be capable of a crime of this nature, which I think is also indicative of what their risk is if the board was inclined to allow her to participate on parole. I don't think that was as a risk, and I think that's what our counselor, who had seen her on a regular basis for a number of years, also indicated that it was very low risk. She's been IRC chairman within the institution. That means something. You're voted on by your peers, and it is an honor to be in that position. She has been a math tutor in education. She's helped numerous inmates obtain their GED. She's been in the character arts program, prison fellowship, which I think is extremely important to her. She's much stronger in her faith than she has ever been. And that is a comfort for her it's something that that she enjoys. It's something that is extremely important. Jumpstart, good program. She's been in that program. She would actually like to go to Jumpstart if the board would consider her for parole. He has been out of the program for a couple of years, and that would be, she'd have to do some other things for that to happen. So that's why we have chosen that she would go and live with her brother. Good, solid individual in the community, willing to help her in any manner. And one thing I've noticed from the family and friends is that we mourn with her the pain of this crime, but we still love her.
The fuck you mean we're mourning? No, she not doing no mourning. She just trying to get out so she can fucking get her fuck on.
Was going to consider her for parole. One of the other things I've given back to the community, arts and crafts. She's made arts and crafts that she's donated to charity. She's helped St. Jude's. She's helped staff members. She said that an insight into what's going on with her, stand on her own 2 feet, not to be influenced by others, live a better life, think before acting. And, you know, other people are affected by your decisions and your actions, and the importance of mental health. I think that comes back into what we're talking about. It's not an excuse, but it is certainly some indication or maybe explanation as to what was going on. The goals, and this is my final area for my presentation, is that I don't think she'll ever be able to forgive herself. That is something that she struggles with forever. I don't think that creates a danger to anyone, except potentially maybe a danger to her.
Yeah, that's all the reason why she shouldn't be getting out there, dummy.
Balanced well by the Department of Corrections. I think she thinks as clear now as she ever has. I think that she is able to establish goals and what she would like to do in her life. And I think on the top of that list is to give back and to try to help others. She said that no one should suffer in the way that in their treatment. There is help available, and she wants to help to get out and maybe help to promote that that concept that there's help out there. You just have to seek it. And she said she'd like to live a quiet life. She would welcome supervision if granted parole, and maybe that is the best thing about this situation. From that type of situation is that if she's granted parole, it is for life, and she will be supervised and she will be monitored by the Department of Probation and Parole Services for the rest of her life. She said that she would welcome that, because that is another pillar of stability that is available for her that she can reach out to. And she said that that would be a vital and instrumental part of her life. She loves animals. She said that would like to find a job helping with dogs and cats. I often ask my clients, if you could choose and you could make these wishes come true, what would you like to do? You know, what is the job that you truly would enjoy? Often that's different than the job that we have. And I think that job for Susan is the care for animals and being involved in that area of help. In closing, I think that she has indicated to me that her desire is to make her life mean something, something other than the things that she has done to make a positive impact in her life. I talked to somebody, I've spoken to a number of people, and I've spoken to one person that told me, they were at the trial, and they said that their impression of Susan was that she was living to die. I didn't really understand that. I think the more that I have been talking to her and preparing this case, maybe I do. I think that has been Susan's life, is living to die for the things that she has done. And I think that what she's asking today is to ask the board to consider a parole for her, so maybe she can make something positive out of a horrific situation. I want to thank you for your time. I know I've taken a lot of time today. I would just ask if you would please consider her for release.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas, and we appreciate all
Yes,
your
ma'am.
comments.
Thank you.
And again, thank you for the very detailed packet that you presented. Ms. Smith,
Yes, ma'am.
what would you like to tell us today?
Very sorry. I am.
Let's see them crocodile tears, goddammit. That's right. Let them crocodile tears flow. Let it flow, let it flow, let it flow. Hey man, why she sound like a husky when a husky get mad? You know what I'm saying? When you ever, it kind of one of them husky like rah, 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 rah. Let it go.
Influence of drugs or alcohol that might get you murdered your children?
Let it flow.
No, ma'am, I was not.
Your attorney talked about working with mental health. Is that helpful to you?
No. No. The bitch having a nervous breakdown. What do you mean is helping? It's not helping her.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that something that you would be willing to continue with on the outside if you were
What
granted
you
parole?
say no, so I could get some hot dogs.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Smith, your crime took a lot of resources from the law enforcement community. What, if anything, would you say to the folks who worked so hard to find your children if you had the opportunity to speak to them today?
Her kids will probably tell her rotten hell.
That I'm sorry that I put them through that. I really, really am. And I'm especially sorry to the person that I had to find them. I wish I could take that back. I really do.
Hey, won't you apologize to the black man that didn't exist that you initially accused of this shit, you trifling ass bitch?
Really didn't. I was just scared. I didn't know how I could tell the people that loved him that they would never see him again. I didn't know how I could tell David he couldn't see his sons again. And I'm sorry. I don't know. I know that's not enough. I know it's not, but I don't know. I know that's just how like words, but they come from my heart. They really do.
One of the things that we review is your institutional record, and you've had some infractions throughout the years, some involving.
You out there fucking them security guards, huh? You was out there getting your pussy just ran through, huh? but you out here crying these crocodile tears. You get your ass out of here.
Damn, I don't.
And you had a recent.
Were you crying them tears of joy when that man was when Uncle Jesse was sticking his cock inside you?
Okay. So why should this board think that if we grant you parole that you're going to go out and follow the rules and the laws of society if you do not follow the rules within the
Go ahead and answer that question from crying them crocodile tears. You know you was doing, bitch.
I was trusting the wrong person. This lady contacted me and I trusted her because I thought she was going to do a documentary on mental health. And I really am not guilty of what they charged me with. And I have filed an appeal on that charge. And as far as your question, I've never been in trouble before, and the things that I have been found guilty of in here have been just stupidity. I know I made a lot of mistakes in here, and I have learned from them. And before this last infraction, it had been 10 years, because I grew up and I knew that I needed to stop making dumb decisions, and I did. I knew it was time to grow up and do the right thing. I just made a lot of dumb choices and mistakes in here. So I know I've learned from those mistakes.
What do you feel is the most
And I'm not
important
gonna
thing
do
that
that.
you've learned while you've been incarcerated?
Ma'am?
What do you think is the most important thing that you have learned while you have been incarcerated?
That people are important, that forgiveness and love, that family is important, and decisions we make don't just affect us, they affect the people that we love. And not to take things or people for granted.
All right. Is there anything else that you would like to tell us today that wasn't in your packet or that has not already been said?
I would just like to say that I am a Christian and God is a big part of my life, and I know He has forgiven me. And it is by His grace and mercy and I have a lot of faith, and I live by that every day. And
Is your ex-husband gonna forgive you though? That's the $1 million question, bitch. Is your ex-husband gonna forgive you? We gonna find out. Wrote a song about it, like the here it go.
I guess, yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Are there any other questions
Okay,
from the
you.
board? Folks at Watkins, I need each of you to please state your name for the record and your relationship to Ms. Smith. Ma'am, can we begin with you, please?
Ma'am, state your name and your relationship. Ma'am, state your name and your relationship.
I did not, is it I?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Ann Curry, and I'm a long-term friend and supporter of Susan.
Thank you, Ms. Curry. And sir, your name, please?
And state your name, sir, and your relationship. State your name and your relationship.
Okay, I'm the Reverend Tom Curry. I've known Susan briefly when she was a teenager, when I was called in for one session each, counseling about 2 different matters, once by her teacher and once by Susan. And I testified at her trial, which in the sentencing phase, and I have kept up with her by writing her weekly for the last 30 years. I did this because I felt that she needed somebody to remind her that her whole life was not caught up in that one experience, but that she could put her life back together because her life was in such turmoil when all this happened. And I think she's a different person now. And that's what I want to talk about when I get a chance to say a word about it. I have new hearing aids and I can't always hear your questions, but my mind's fine, and I'm just a retired Presbyterian minister alone.
Well, thank you, Mr. Curry. We appreciate that, and you're welcome. You're welcome to make your statement that you would like to make right now.
All right. Okay, I want to start with her trial.
Mr. Curry, let me interrupt you before you get too far into that. We are not here to retry in any form or fashion. That is not the purpose of the parole board. We are here to determine if she is a good candidate for parole, and if so, we would set the parameters of that parole. But in no way can we discuss the trial or retry her case. She was convicted of 2 counts of murder. If you'd like to speak to anything outside of that, you're welcome to.
Okay, now, I just want to say 2 things about the trial. I only went to the trial for one part of one morning to testify in the sentencing phase against the death penalty. And the 2 things that I picked up from the trial itself was, one, a prison guard who came, a female, who said that she had not seen a criminal as remorseful as Susan was, and that she felt her remorse for what she had done was genuine. And the second thing was, one of the jurors, the prosecuting attorney, was pushing hard for the death penalty, and the jury voted not, and they voted life, as y'all have already mentioned. But one of the jurors said that she felt like that it would be harder for Susan to live with what she had done than to die. And I thought that was a true statement. And it certainly has been for Susan during her 30 years in prison, and especially the first part of her time that she was there. It's been easy. She attempted suicide several times, and she had a couple of run-ins where guards were able to use her for their pleasure. That was a bad situation, and was dealt with, and she was not the only prisoner involved.
I know he didn't say that. I know he didn't say that. Oh my Lord, I know he did not say that.
I just want to say that I really think Susan is ready for parole now. She has surrounded herself with a caring support community that advises and encourages her, and she listens to them. As Mr. Thomas said, she has done everything she can to prepare herself to live outside of prison, and taking courses and learning how to teach and caring about other people and working on teams and projects together. And thirdly, as both of them have said, she is not the young woman who went into prison 30 years ago. She is much stronger. She has grieved, is still grieving, will always grieve. But she's learned from it, and she has experienced paralyzing remorse and survived. Today, she wants to begin to rebuild her life, and I hope you'll give her that chance.
I want to say one more word. For the last 2 years, now remember, I wrote her for 30 years, once a week, pretty close to every week. And that is, the last 2 years, I've ended my letters by saying, Susan, you live in a needy place. Right? Share God's love with those around you and with your other contacts, but always live in hope for your own future. There is a time to live on your own again, past prison. And that's what I hope her the chance to do at this time. She is a very different person from what she was 30 years ago. And I've probably been in contact with her talking about spiritual things, but also just trying to enlarge her life by telling her about what's going on in the world around her and in the Curry family. She's the same age as one of my children.
All right, thank you, Mr. Curry. We appreciate all of your comments, sir. We appreciate all of your comments and all of the information. Mr. Thomas, anything in closing, sir?
No, ma'am. Nothing further. I really would ask the board to take the time to consider Susan's request for parole. I do believe that if we look at insight into things that we've done and as far as things that we need to do to get out of the Department of Corrections and to try to make our life worthwhile or mean something, I think Susan is at that point. And hope you would consider our presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Thank you, Ms. Smith, and thank you,
Yes,
Mr. and
ma'am.
Mrs. Curry. We certainly appreciate all of you joining us today. If you all will please exit the rooms, we will have an answer for you later today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
One moment as the room clears. And the room is clear, and we do have additional testimony facilitated by the Office of Victim Services.
Let's go.
Please wait as all victims join from central office.
Good afternoon. You all come on in. Thank you. Can you move just a little further around so we can get everyone in? Thank you so much. Thank you. Good afternoon. You all are here for the parole consideration case of Susan Smith. Is that correct?
Yes.
We are so very, very sorry for the circumstances that brought you all to be a part of this hearing today. But we cannot tell you how much we appreciate you joining us and being here with us today. Thank you so much. Before we begin, I do need each of you to please state your name for the record and your interest in this case. Sir, can we begin with you, please?
Stand up.
You don't have to stand up. You do whatever's comfortable for you.
I'm David Smith. I'm the father of Michael and Alex.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
I'm Tiffany Smith. I am
God damn, the whole family showed up.
I'm Rebecca Smith French. I'm the aunt of Michael and Alex.
God damn, the whole family showed up. God damn. Hey, y'all, man, y'all see this shit?
Served currently and was a prosecutor on the original case.
Laura Hudson with the current Crime Victims Council.
Mark Reynolds, I'm with the victim's family.
Billy Bailey, personal friend.
Kathy Bailey, personal friend.
Jeff Bailey, Sheriff, Union County. Scott Cofer, Sheriff's Office, Union County.
Michael Cogdill, documentarian.
Rita Swan, aunt to Michael and Alex.
Doug Smith, Dave's uncle.
Thank you all. And again, we are so very, very sorry for the circumstances, but thank you for being here with us today. We do have the facts of the offense, and we've heard from Ms. Smith. Now we want to hear from you all, whether you were for or against parole, and if anyone would like to make a statement, you are certainly welcome to do so. Mr. Smith, would you like to begin, or would you like to conclude at the end? It's completely up to you.
conclude at the end, please.
Who would like to speak first?
I'll speak first, please, ma'am.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
So I'm Tommy Pope. I was the 16th Circuit Solicitor, and this was a death penalty case. And the reason it was a death penalty case, the solicitor has that discretion, but the reason it was a death penalty case, the facts and circumstances. And I just felt strongly that had the black man with the toboggan committed the crime, people would expect a death penalty. If David Smith had committed the crime, people would expected the death penalty. And I thought it was very important that the betrayal that Susan Smith showed, that she be treated the same. We knew it was going to be difficult. We knew there was a likelihood of not achieving the death penalty. But I think it's important to note the jury at the time actually asked, what did life mean? And you may be aware, but in that time, life did not mean life. Life became life in 96. We tried the case in 95. So the jury was asked, and the judge was required to instruct the jury that you take life and death in its plain and usual meaning. Carrying that forward, the jury showed her mercy. The jury gave her a life sentence. But one of the jurors, or more of the jurors, after the fact and speaking to the media, said that they believed the life sentence was the greater punishment because they believed that Susan should have to reflect to Michael and Alex, that she should have her life thinking about what she'd done. The two fallacies in that logic that the jury could not have known are, number one, obviously we're here today, so life did not mean life. Number two, and you have it before you, Susan's conduct from the day she rolled the kids in the lake. The defense claimed a botched suicide, but she was able to save herself. She was able to blame a black guy. She wasn't wet. She wasn't injured when she runs to the house and concocts this story. Susan has always focused on Susan. I will believe to the end of my time that Susan made a horrible choice to choose a man over her family. I said the boys were in the car, her wedding gown was in the car, her wedding album was in the car. She thought in a nice package she could roll that away. If she could have put David in the car, he would have been there too. In a nice package, she could roll that away and start this new life with this other man. And she led everyone on, including David, for 9 horrible days. And so as you look at her conduct in prison, whether it was a relationship with guards, the social media, the attention, the conduct recently with the publisher, Susan, she's got people outside. I'm sure you've heard from them that take care of her. Susan has always focused on what's best for Susan. And so the evidence that you have before you, I think, tells clearly that she has not focused on Michael and Alex. She only has and continues to focus on herself. And so on behalf of this family, on behalf of justice and the justice for this case, it's not about her behavior or what she would do when getting out, but I know the criteria is the nature of the crime and whether the punishment is there. And I will submit for the crime she committed, the action she committed, she deny parole. Now, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Solicitor. I really appreciate it. Would anyone else like to speak?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Madam Chairman, Chair Lady, and members of the board, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak here today. I was on the prosecution team that handled the prosecution along with Solicitor Pope and Speaker Pope now, who you just heard from. I wanted to bring to you a couple of vignettes from the case to help bring this alive for you. In the course of preparing for today, I've gone back over the case. I've reviewed the file. I pulled some of the evidence out, which is in a closet just off my office. Evidence like the note that was written to Susan Smith by her boyfriend, the man she was cheating on her husband with, who told her in the note that he could not be with her anymore because he didn't want children, and that they had no long-term future because he didn't want children. And then 1 week later, she's rolling her car down the ramp at John D. Long Lake with her 2 children strapped into the back. She betrayed her husband when she cheated on him, and she betrayed her children against the laws of nature when she should have been sworn to protect those children. She betrayed them when she left them in the seat and rolled that car down, and she was not trying to commit suicide. She was trying to change her life. She wanted to kill her old life and start anew. She was wearing a sweatshirt that the man who she was cheating with had given to her when she was on TV 2 hours later after claiming that a black man in a toboggan had carjacked her and spirited her 2 children away. How many black men in red Mazdas got pulled over across the country because they were looking for those 2 kids and they were looking for this fictitious man that didn't exist, purely a figment of her imagination? I was on the banks of John D. Long Lake, standing there with about 40 or 45 people, 50 people, as the tow truck from Greer's Wrecker launched its line into the water where divers hooked it to the car and pulled it out. Total silence as that car emerged from the dark water. Everybody sitting there hoping and praying that maybe it was a different car. Maybe it was a wrong car. Maybe the kids weren't in there. Not a word was said. It was one of the most haunting memories of my life, and it will live with me forever. And that's the last point I want to make. You're going to hear from this man, and he's going to tell you what this did to him. I can't begin to describe it. I sat in court and listened to him testify, and it was heart-wrenching as he described that his hopes and dreams for the future were destroyed that night when she killed their 2 children. This didn't just traumatize him. It traumatized Union. It traumatized South Carolina. The entire country was in the grips of her lie and her treachery. The entire country. This was a global sensation. People were fixated on this. They're not the only victims. And on behalf of the community that I represent now, I don't believe she should ever be released from jail.
Hell no, never!
Until the last person alive who remembers Michael and Alex is dead. And that will not be in her lifetime. She should never be released. And she should not be released now. His hopes and dreams were dashed. I hope you dash hers today and every 2 years hereafter.
That's right. Damn right. God damn it.
Does anyone else wish to speak?
David Smith, get up there and say something, David. I guess we're going to save the best for last.
You're welcome to stay seated if you're more comfortable, whatever's for you.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna read what I wrote. Okay, it's easier, if you don't mind. When Susan murdered Michael and Alex, she altered the course of my life and my family's life forever. Having grown up with 3 older brothers, Susan was like the sister I never had. I was a teenage mom of just 16, so I looked up to her and even admired her. I thought she was the best mother to the boys, and I strived to be just like her. I would even leave my own daughter with her while I attended night school. Susan took out of those boys and then lied about it. For days, when she did this, she destroyed a trust in me that I've never regained. And as a result, I do not develop close relationships with others easily, in particular females. Anxiety and depression have plagued my life for years. I push it away during spring and summer as best possible, but it always creeps back up around Alex's birthday when it rolls around in August, because I know Michael's won't be far behind in October, and then the anniversary of their death on the 25th. In my mind, I always refer to this period of time as the sad months. Throughout my career, the majority of any time missed at work is around Michael's birthdays and the anniversary of their death. I stay in bed and sleep to deal with the depression. It's just easier this way, or at least it seems to be. Something as simple as taking up a new hobby turned into a nightmare for me last year. My boyfriend and I decided to take scuba diving lessons. I geared up with all the equipment, face mask on, oxygen tank on my back, stepped off the side of the pool into 15 feet of water and immediately sank to the bottom from all the weight I was carrying. Normally you'd remember to breathe and begin to ascend as I had studied for all the weeks leading up to that point, but nothing prepared me for dropping into a body of water and the feeling of being weighted down, unable to breathe, and seeing Michael and Alex's face. I immediately panicked, ripping off my face mask, sucking in water, and not being able to come to the surface from all the weight I was carrying. I was drowning. And I knew in that moment that was the closest I'd ever come to knowing what my nephews had endured and how horrific and scared their last moments had to have been. Something as simple as taking up a new hobby was yet one more thing Susan was taking from me. In over 25 years, I have found myself finding comfort going to the cemetery where the boys are buried beside our older brother. I go there often and I will tidy up their graves where people have left trinkets or gifts and I talk to them. I go there when I'm happy. I go there when I'm upset. Rainy days, sunny days, cold days, and hot days. It doesn't matter. It brings me peace just being there. But as a result, I'm not able to bring myself to move away from Union County because now I don't want to leave them. We have missed Michael and Alex's kindergarten graduations, numerous birthdays, birthday parties, summer vacations, Easters, along with annual Easter egg hunts at Meemaw's, Thanksgivings, Christmases, football, soccer, baseball games, proms, high school graduations, possible marriages, and births of their own children. We don't know because they never had a chance. They never had a chance to live a life of their own. Susan took that from them. She took that from us all. And now she wants a chance to be free after only serving 30 years. No. Life should mean life. I'm respectfully asking you to please deny her request for parole. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
I apologize if I get a little bit emotional. I drove down from Detroit on Monday night, which was Halloween before that week. And a young man, middle-aged man then, I'm an old man now, but the boys never got to. As Becky said, they missed a lot. They missed their life. Today they would be in their 30s. David would probably be a granddad. The boys were still here. I took my sister out to the lake yesterday, and it's a beautiful drive out there. I was just thinking, all that time she had time to change her mind, to stop and turn around and not go through with it, but she did. And then the boys were gone. A year later, I came back down for the trial. Tommy Pope did a good job. They proved that she was guilty. During the sentencing trial, they came back and recommended life. Tommy had argued for the death penalty. The family was for death penalty. They come back and recommended life. But we said, well, we'll live with it. You know, she'll have to live with it every day for the rest of her life. So we were satisfied with life, but we do not want a parole. We against any parole for her. And then two other items going back 30 years, the Friday morning after apologize. But the Friday morning after David, his dad, my brother's wife, and I, the four of us, were sitting at Holcomb Funeral Home in Union and discussing the funeral arrangements. David had asked to see the boys, and Mr. Holcomb had a funny look on his face, and he said, "Mr. Smith, could I see you?" So we went out, and he said, "You know, your nephew can't see the boys." And he told me why. He said, "You know, the boys were in the water for 9 days." So I went back and told David, I said, "You know, it's better that you don't see the boys. And I think deep down he understood why. The next day, Saturday, three of us, David, his dad, and I went out to the Bougainville United Methodist Church Cemetery and to look where the boys are going to be buried. And David's brother, Danny, who had died 3 years earlier, was buried there. David wanted his boys buried next to his brother, their uncle. But the way the cemetery is laid out, there was no room for the boys to be put next to Danny. So I found the cemetery custodian and asked him if it were possible to move Danny. And he said, well, yes, if that's what the family wants, we can move Danny. So I went back and saw my brother. Said, David wants the boys to be next to their uncle. Would you have a problem if we moved Danny? And he said, no. So if you go out to the cemetery, you'll find that Danny and the boys are side by side.
Does anyone else wish to speak?
Yes, I'll go first.
Yes, ma'am.
So as David's wife, I have stood by him for the last 30 years and watched his pain, his suffering, his dark days that you cannot imagine. It's been hard as a loving wife to stand back and watch him suffer the pain that he has gone through. To not want to get out of bed some days. To not be able to get out of bed. Because the pain was so much for him. And for 30 years, we have thought this day would never come. But yet here we are. I don't feel that it's time for her to be let out because she took 2 lives. She didn't just take one. She took 2 precious little boys that we haven't been able to watch grow up. And as Becky stated earlier, all the things that we've missed out on because of them not being here, all the things they missed out on growing up in and doing. And for her to be in prison for the last 30 years, you would think that she would have thought about what she's done. She would have said, I'm sorry. But she doesn't even tell him she was sorry. For 9 days, all I can think about is how much she lied and manipulated everybody, the whole world. I watched it and believed her myself. I wanted her to be telling the truth. But to be betrayed by her lies, and that just makes me feel like if she could do that then, whatever she's told you today, I'm sure were probably lies as well. Because she has shown in her last 30 years what she does in prison. She's all about herself. It's all about what she can do to make her life better. Michael and Alice didn't get a chance at life. They were forced the death penalty. She took that from them. The lives of this family has been forever changed. It caused us to be a little overprotective of our now daughter, a little bit more than we probably should have been, because we were afraid something might happen to her. It's changed the way we look at life. It's changed the way that we look at everybody. Who can I trust? For a long time, I didn't trust a lot of people. I had to be careful, around certain people. I didn't know if I could trust them or not, all because of her lies. So to give this family some peace, it would be best if Susan stayed behind bars and stay in prison for the rest of her life. I respectfully ask you to keep her in. Thank you.
Does anyone else wish to speak for Mr. Smith? Sheriff, anyone? Yes, ma'am.
Forgive me. Most of what I have to say is going to be pretty redundant. But primarily, I would just like to focus on since I came after the fact. What I had stolen from me was 2 older brothers, the good and the bad of having older siblings. And I now try to use my life as a way to live for them. And growing up, I didn't quite understand it my whole life, but when I finally did, I felt like I had witnessed it, like I was there. The pain that not only was caused to me in like a domino effect, but what I have seen firsthand with my father, my aunt, and our whole hometown. We can no longer say that we're from Union County without Susan's actions being brought up. And just for the sake of all of us and our whole community, I ask that you deny her request.
Mr. Smith? You're welcome to stay seated if you want to.
Madam Chairman, members of the committee. It's been a tough 30 years. I'm not here to speak about what she's done in prison. You all have the records and accounts of all that. Just here to advocate on Michael and Alex's behalf and as their father. God gives us free choice. And she made free choice that night to end her life. This wasn't a tragic mistake. It wasn't something that she didn't mean to do. She purposely meant to end her life. I never have felt any remorse from her for it. She's never expressed any to me. I've never seen it on paper. You've heard, she changed my life for the rest of my life that night. Some for the better, some for the worse, but what she did, not only to Michael and Alex, she came pretty close to causing me to end my life because of the grief that she brought upon me. But thankfully she didn't. I understand back in 95 that through the state's law, life in prison meant 30 years to life. And now that's different, but at that time, that's what counts. I understand that. But ultimately, to me, that's only 15 years per child. Her own children. It's just not enough. So I'm asking that you please deny her parole today. And hopefully in the future, but specifically today. Not let her out. I miss them very much. And I love them very much. And I will be here every 2 years going forward to ensure that your death doesn't go in vain. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Smith. Again, please know how very, very sorry this board is to all of you for all the pain that this crime caused you. But we sincerely appreciate you all being here with us today. Thank you very much. And thank you for the reminder with the picture of Alex and Michael. They were beautiful children. So thank you for reminding us of that today. We wish you the very best. And if no one else has anything else that they would like to say, if you all will exit with these ladies over here, we'll have an answer for you shortly. Thank you so much for being here. As a reminder, Mrs. Mira did recuse herself. Ms. Susan Smith is denied parole. The vote is unanimous, numbers 1 and 6. Thank you.
Thank you. The time now is 12:51 p.m. We will pause our recording. Ms. Hunter, if you can advise when the recording has been paused.
The recording has been paused.
So as y'all can see there, the Susan Smith has gotten denied parole, and she should stay there. She ain't got no business getting out for what she did. So good on the parole board to unanimously decline and reject the notion of Susan Smith getting parole. So yeah, man, such a sad thing to listen to the family come out there, man. You know what I'm saying? But I'm glad she got denied. You guys let me know what y'all think. If you're not subscribed to this channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and share these videos on your social media platforms. Shouts out to the LDBC. This your man. Scream at me. Oh!